Welcome, everybody, to today's episode. Our one-shot. I have my speakers on. I'm like, why can't I hear myself? Our one-shot of Wastewalkers by Fari RPGs. I'm excited to play this. I am going to preface with, I've only read the things. I haven't got to play this yet, so all of the information, I'm one of those people that like has to play it for it to stick a little bit longer. So there'll be a lot of, hang on, I need to look at this rule. The upside is, this is a 4-page RPG, and you build a lot of, there's not like a bunch of lore built into it, so we're going to build this all together as we go. You might notice there are a couple other people on the screen. We're going to do a round of introductions for those folks. Starting with, I feel like I should roll a d4. We're going to roll a d4 for this. Starting with Ed. Ed, please introduce yourself.
Hey, my name is Ed. I stream occasionally as Neuromaster, but mostly I really enjoy being here on Wanderer's Haven, playing an assortment of RPGs with these fine folks. I'm really into the whole post-apocalyptic theme, so I have been looking forward to this since Jeremy posted the call for players, so stoked to be here.
I'm excited that you're here with us. Who would you like to throw it over to next?
Throw it over to Shannon.
Fair enough.
Why, thank you. I'm Shannon. I'm Imaginif, pretty much all over the place. I am a GINIF. Fun fact, I did a creator spotlight where we had RP on for that, and so the creator of this wonderful game that we're about to play. So if you want to go over to the Imaginif Media YouTube, you'll be able to find that up there, and you can check that out and hear from him a little bit in that space. So it's kind of cool. And you can find me all over the web on Imaginif, but also specifically on Twitch and YouTube, Imaginif Media, where we support all those who create, play, and heal.
That's awesome. I actually did not know.
Throw it over to Miko.
Nice. I actually didn't know that he was on there, so I'm going to have to go check that out.
It was a fun little chat that we had.
Hi, everyone. I am Miko, otherwise known as the OKSGM, and I am a co-founder over at Folk and Myth, where we stream all manner of actual play games, and yeah. I'm also actually streaming some stuff on my own channel now, just random game-related things, mostly Mind Over Magic these days, but yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I'm also very excited to be here. It's very odd that I get a random time in the middle of a Saturday to be actually able to pop on somebody else's stream, so yeah, nice. Super excited to be here.
Glad to have you. And last but not least, a newcomer to the channel. Welcome, Devin. Why don't you tell us about yourself?
I'm Devin. I'm brand new here. I haven't streamed before. I'm here because of Ed. We've been friends since middle school. So it's been a long time. Let's see. So yeah, I've enjoyed a bunch of tabletop games in my life. You know, started with D&D as a kid, like everybody does, I think, and then got into sort of other like high concept games. And, like I like Mage the Ascension and Nobilis and Exalted and stuff.
Nice.
In real life, I'm finishing up law school. I plan on doing intellectual property, patent litigation stuff mostly, so that keeps me busy. But yeah, I also write a web serial, so I have fun doing that. It's called Scientia Weaponizes the Future. It's mildly popular. It's sadly neglected because of law school, but I do need to finish it.
If you are in the Twitch chat, you should absolutely throw a link in there, or put it in our group chat, and I will throw the link into Twitch chat.
Oh, sure.
Because that's awesome. Also, wishing you the best with law school. Having just finished up only my bachelor's degree, my heart bleeds for you. And on that note, hey, I'm Jeremy. You can find me here most times that I'm streaming. Sometimes I'm on other people's things. On socials, you can find me at WH Pubs. And today we are going to play Wastewalkers by Fari RPG. Really looking forward to this. We've played Songs and Sagas on the channel before, and I feel like maybe one other that he created, but I can't think. I know it wasn't Stoneburner because I have that, but I haven't got to play it yet. I can't remember for sure, but always a fun time playing their creations, and I'm on board with Ed on this. I always enjoy some crazy post-apocalyptic stuff, whether it's just shenanigans or, you know, whatever it is we end up building today. Not that it's going to be shenanigans.
Oh, it's going to be shenanigans.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Why else would you invite me?
I am
Fair.
here.
Fair.
Shenanigans shall
Has
happen.
anyone ever run a tabletop game without shenanigans? I think it's impossible.
I don't do life without shenanigans.
Totally fair. Totally fair. So we're going to actually build characters because we kind of want to show off the system and how fast you can jump into a game. This is going to actually be kind of a slowed down version so that we can update the screen as we go, and you can all follow along with what we're doing. But it's super easy and fast. You all being the players, are going to choose a background. And I feel like most of you had already chosen what they are, but we're just going to throw out what they are real quick for the audience. You have an orbiter, you have a hollower, a dooner, and a streeter. Did you all choose separate ones? Do we have the entire basis covered? I feel like that's what you all did.
So
I
Then
think so.
instead of me reading those right now, as we are talking about your individual characters, we'll talk about these different backgrounds as we go. So who wants to make their character first, or should I roll for it?
I
I
feel like
mean-
you should roll for it.
you rolled for
We have
it
dice.
already, so
Hang on, I gotta find my super heavy. There we go. Metal die. Because this is the post-apocalypse, people.
A doom die. Okay.
2. Devin, the newcomer to the channel,
Okay.
is gonna go first. So, Devin, tell me what background you selected.
So I was going to go with Orbiter because I was kind of shocked that nobody else picks it. And it seems kind of an interesting thing. You know, you're a little out of step with all the society you're in. You're probably from a reasonably technologically advanced, small but technologically advanced society, and then you wind up on Earth for some reason.
Right?
I was thinking the Orbiter groups, they probably have limited life support capacity, and with no launch capacity on Earth, there's no way to sort of get more materials. So they can only support so many people. So I was thinking that whenever somebody is born, they have to draw lots and send somebody back down with the idea that they've got all this education and whatever small resources they can scrap together, and maybe they can sort of rebuild civilization. But really, it's kind of a shot in the dark. So that was what I was thinking.
Nice. Yeah, not to compare this game with another IP that might be out there as far as post-apocalyptic and having societies that are contained in safe areas, rather than underground in a vault of some kind. You were in a space station, essentially, an orbiting platform where your family had paid to go, essentially, and survive. So, as an orbiter, you're going to increase your human by 2 and your smart by 1, and your maximum endurance is d6 plus 3. So why don't you roll your d6 and add 3?
Where did I? So 1d6 is gonna be 4.
Excellent. And then these increases that you have are added to a card pull. So to get your stats when you're making a character, you're going to draw from a standard deck of cards, which are represented by the white squares that you see on the screen and the kind of maroon square. The maroon squares are deck of cards, and the white spaces that are currently not filled in for anyone are their cards as they pull them. So Devin, you are the first card puller of the day. Why don't you pull your tough score?
Okay. Pull over, flip, queen.
So Queen of Diamonds gets you a +1, and you're starting with essentially 0, so your tough is 1.
All right.
Now you're going to pull your smart.
Smart is gonna be Jack. Heart.
Nice. So hearts gets you a +2. You started with a 1, so you are now at a 3 for smart. Your fast.
Fast is going to be King of Diamonds.
Geez, you're just pulling all the red cards before anyone else gets to do. It shuffled it for everyone. So you get a 1 for your fast, and your human, which started at 2, is going to end up as...
5 of hearts.
All right, so that's another +2. So you maxed out your human at 4.
Okay.
Perfect.
I was trying to kind of infer from the rules what human covers. That one isn't quite as clear as the others.
Yeah, so human talks about you may sway, command, charm, and rally. So I feel like it's more persuasion, deception, intimidation.
Okay, makes sense. I guess I just wound up the persuasive face. All right.
Do you have a name for you?
Yes, I was thinking his name was going to be Henry Ellerton.
Henry. And we'll go ahead and do last names. How do you want to spell Ellerton?
Allerton.
Is Henry spelled with a Y, or is there any weird futuristic spelling going
just
on?
went with HENRY. Yeah.
Okay. I feel like I just need to double check these things.
I suppose HENRI is possible. I
Right.
haven't seen a lot of Henrys, but
Henri.
Henry.
yeah.
All right. Your character's done. That was fast.
Yay! Yeah. Yes, like,
I love
compare
it.
that to like a World of Darkness thing or something. Holy
Right?
cow, yeah.
Even faster. We play some World of Darkness, and this is just like done. Who'd you like to throw it over
Sorry
to?
if I missed it. Did he roll his endurance?
He did. He got a 4?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 4. So 4 plus 3 is 7 total.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Who would you like to throw it over to do the next one?
I'll give it to my friend Ed. Have fun.
All right,
Awesome.
Ed. I feel like you had an idea for your type, your background. What was it?
I did. I was really, I was caught up by the idea of a hollower, someone who has lived in sort of the collapsed underground carcasses of the great cities of old, you know, some kind of very scroungy, you know, kind of almost, you know, chud-like experience.
I love it.
You know, kind of just very dirty, brutal, but you know, still holding on to some aspect of his humanity and somehow falling in with the rest of this group. But I love that idea.
Nice. I feel like you covered the description of Hollower pretty well, so we'll have you pull your cards then. Real quick, as a Hollower, you increase your fast by 2 and your tough by 1. So we'll start with that. Excuse me. And go ahead and pull your tough card. The first minus... this one's just a 0, so we're not going to add anything to tough, but the first black card of the day. It had to happen sooner or later. All right, for smart, you're starting at 0 and adding 1. So
Something.
you're going to get a smart of 1. Your
Not a
fast
complete
is
moron.
starting at 2. What's it going to go to? Also adding 0, so you stay at 2, and your human, which I feel is definitely different than humanity. It's more of like your influence and ability to influence. So a diamond gets you a +1, so that leaves you with a tough of 1, a smart of 1, a fast of 2, and a human of 1. What do you feel like this fellow's name is?
I'm gonna call him Shorty.
Is that SHORTI?
Shorty, yeah, like some stunted
Or
little
AW.
dwarven dude.
Shorty. All right, we've got Shorty and Henry set up. Good to go. Ed, who would you like to hand it
once
off
we
to?
get my
Oh.
endurance, right?
Don't forget your endurance. Thanks.
Is that a
Oh, yeah.
D8?
It is a D8. Thanks, Ed. So you got a D8 plus 3.
All right, I got a 5 for that, so 5 plus 3 comes out to 8. If my
Nice.
math is still good.
I do appreciate it when players pick up all of the broken pieces I leave behind.
Speaking of broken pieces, I noticed that we each get like a weapon and armor, and they're like
You
the
do,
dice
yeah.
are set, but you can sort of
We'll talk about that after
use
all
them
your
as you like.
stats are set up.
Okay.
Ed, who would you like to hand it off to?
Miko, take it from here.
Alrighty then.
So
What
Miko.
would you like me to draw for first, Jeremy?
Well, first we have to decide your background.
Oh, so I'm gonna play a Dooner, who is basically somebody that has learned how to survive the barren wastelands when other people can't. The types of places other people can't survive in.
Nice. And before I forget, like I did for Ed, your maximum endurance is a D10 plus 3. So go ahead and roll your D10.
Oh, rolling it in advance. Okay. Let's see here. 10. That would be a 1.
So even though you are super hardy, your endurance is a 4.
Life has taken a toll.
Right. Yeah. It's all of that dust you've been breathing in over the years. Just really gets your
Having
lungs.
Flashbacks to AD&D and playing a wizard and rolling a 1 or something for hit points. Congratulations, a house cat is tougher than you are.
Right.
Or worse, when you roll a 1 and you have a negative modifier and you have to start character creation all over again.
Right.
Yeah, I had that happen a couple times. All right, so you would like me to go ahead and draw a card for my tough?
Let's go ahead and pull your tough. You start at a
Queen
2,
of Hearts.
and you're going to add a 2, so that gives you a 4. Your smart starts at a 0. What are you going to add? What is going on? You're getting all of the hearts. You got a 2 for your smart.
Fast is diamonds.
Be plus 1, so you end up with a 2. And you're human.
Human diamond.
One more 1. Perfect.
I
So
see
we
all
end up
black cards in my future.
right. They've used up all of the red cards. So we have a tough of 4, a smart of 2, a fast of 2, and a human of 1. Does that sound right?
Sounds right to me.
Perfect. All we need is a name.
We'll call him Rook.
Like the bird? Or
Like the chess piece.
the chess piece? Perfect. All right, so we've got Shorty, Henry, and Rook set up. Leaves Shannon. Shannon, what?
Yeah.
I feel like
So
in
interesting.
hindsight, you might have also chosen a hollower, didn't you?
Yeah, so I think what we'll do, so that we can highlight a couple different things, if you're okay with this, what I'd like to do is describe the hollower that I created for this.
Okay.
And then I'm not going to play that. I'll go through and I'll create a streeter.
Hey, I'm
Because it's
completely
very
fine.
different than Ed.
I'm
So
completely
I feel
fine
like-
with you playing a hollower as well.
No, I think it'll be good to highlight. That way everybody can see all the different ones for RP. They can see all of the different characters or whatever. So I'm fine with that.
Okay.
But so the description for Hollower says your ancestors survived God knows how and now live in the old world undercities in their twisted tunnels. The shadows may have reshaped their culture and appearance, but they remain human, at least partly. And so my Hollower that I created actually took on some properties of the earth and gemstones. So kind of a little bit like Earth Genasi vibe going
like it.
on, I guess, if you want to go with that. Yeah, and not dirty at all. Like flecks of like metallics on their skin and things like that, and lived in a very carved out, highly functioning underground city, essentially underneath. So I thought it was kind of cool that we built 2 completely different characters, which is the beauty of this, right? You can just go in and kind of build whatever you want.
So what if, just throwing this out there, what if your literal background is still that, but because of the area that we're starting in, which we'll get to, but you already know what that is, there technically are a lot of underground tunnels and things under there that very likely could have been, and perhaps when you were younger, you went to the surface and became a streeter, and therefore you very much look like your character's mini that you made and posted on the internet and all of the things.
Yeah, sorry for the spoiler.
No,
I don't follow rules. If you know me at all, you know that's accurate.
I appreciate the excitement about the game. So
yeah, that was really what it is. So yeah, so I'll build a streeter. So your people have no history or have turned their back to it. They built slum cities and makeshift outposts and call it civilization. But everyone knows that civilization died a long time ago. So I'll take that same character, but the vibe is very much more, she kind of does what she needs to do to survive, is very used to not having a lot, can, you know, create and tinker and make stuff out of just about anything.
Nice. So as a streeter, which we'll pull your cards from, you're going to start with a smart of 2 and a human of 1, and your endurance is a d6 plus 3. So,
roll a d6.
You could technically end up with more hit points than the Dooner quite easily.
So
Well,
I just noticed something actually in looking at the character creation stuff. It says, if you wish, you can re-roll your maximum endurance to seek a better result, but you must accept the new outcome.
Do you want to try?
I think I'm going to try because I can't get worse.
You can't get worse.
Right?
That's fair.
Yeah.
While you do
nice
that,
there's a mercy rule.
right? While you're rolling yours, Shannon, also roll your
I got an
d6.
8.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so I rolled a 2. I'm also going to re-roll.
Okay.
I rolled a 2 again, so apparently I'm destined
Meant
for
to
that.
be.
So I'm adding that to what?
To 3. So you're a 3. So your maximum endurance is a 5.
Okay. Cool.
Mine is now an 11.
Much
Whatever,
better
there you
than the 4.
I'm scrappy.
Right? All right, so Shannon, your tough starts at a 0 as a streeter. Go ahead and pull your first card.
All right, here we go. It's going to be red.
At least it wasn't a minus. There is that. So your tough is going to be a 0. The first 0 stat of the game. And your smart starts at a 2. Awesome. Okay. You get a +2 to that. You're making up with your brain what your body lacked.
Work smarter, not harder, guys.
That's right. And
I flipped in the wrong spot.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Your fast is also going to be a +2. And your human, which starts at a 1, gets another +2. So you get a tough of 0, a smart of 4, a fast of 2, and a human of 3. Does that sound right?
Sure.
Perfect.
And my endurance is 5. And her name is Bryn.
Okay.
One name, no last name. We ain't got time for that.
Bryn, correct?
Bryn.
Okay. Yeah, no one's got time for last names. This is the end of the world we're talking about. Takes too long to say Henry Allerton when you could just say Bryn. I love it. Okay. You are all set with your stats and your background, but there are a couple other things that you need to begin with. On your sheets, you should see armor and weapons. You're going to start with a D4 armor set. So I need each of you to roll a D4. No. Sorry, my bad. You rolled a D4 against your incoming damage.
Yeah, I was getting confused there.
No, my brain hiccuped when I said it. I was like, no, that's not right. And on your armor, your weapon, you start with a D6 weapon. So in your inventory, you just mark those two things. And who knows what you'll find as you explore the wastes around this city, which will now...
This is all of us? I'm confused.
Yeah, sorry. So everyone begins with the D4 armor and a D6 weapon. However, as you explore, there is a likelihood, I'm not going to say it's a good likelihood, especially with the way that you've eaten up the red cards so far, that you can find better weaponry out there.
Oh, I'm going to find it.
It's going to happen.
So, Jeremy, I have a quick system question here.
Yeah, I will attempt to answer it.
In the section of the one page of rules, where it talks about roles and inventory, it also talks about burning cards, but I don't see anywhere that we actually accrue a hand of cards. Are the cards that we just drew for our attributes, is that our hand?
Well, that's a very good question.
Ooh. RP, is that our hand?
Right? I feel like since
in the
the
chat,
creator
so-
happens to be
Oh, hey,
watching, we might get an answer to that. While we're waiting for the answer to that, I will do a quick explanation of... Okay, so where did the cards in your hand come from? I know where mine come from, because I draw those when it comes
When
to
you
the...
make trial rolls,
So I was looking at the rules for
Oh,
scavenging
trial
and
of
the
success.
possibility of getting random loot from scavenging
Uh-huh.
on I want to say page 2.
Page
No,
2,
page
yeah.
3.
2 of 4,
Page
halfway through
3.
it.
Yeah, something like
Oh,
that.
scavenging, yeah, sorry.
So yeah, it looks like a success on a trial roll can get you a revealed card in your hand,
Right.
but only if you didn't burn.
everybody claims one of the cards that the narrator pulled.
Gotcha. So real quick, before we dive into using all of those rules, we're just going to set up a little bit of our lore. So you all are living after the fall. There is no more society, as one might have called it. The big cities are mostly in waste. And you find yourself in a kind of a shanty town, to be honest, called Runaway. As you approach from many sides of the town, you'll notice that there are signs that have an arrow that points towards the shanty town, and on the green enameled signs in white font, it says Runway, and on all of them, an Anarchy A has been spray painted in the middle. Over the years, this has just kind of become the go-to name for this area. And for those of you who have recently joined the town, you found that life here isn't great. You get by. The nature, mutated by whatever it is that still lingers in the air, is slowly attempting to reclaim the tarmac of this former airport. If any of you knew what that was. I feel like maybe the Orbiter knows what an airport was, but I'm not 100% sure the others do. Spread out across the runways of this are multiple ramshackle buildings built from bits and pieces of airplanes and other buildings and such that have crumbled over the years. Plants grow up to the cracks in the pavement. And this kind of ever-present dust just kind of hangs over this area. As you look out from it in all directions, there's just wasteland. However, nearby there is a large set of buildings. Some call it the terminal, or there's an area of it called the terminal. You don't want to go there. The Sky King sends those he never wants to be found again to the terminal. But in the concourse where he holds sway over his minions, there's still running water that's fairly clean, and it's how he holds power over not only his minions, but those within the town of Runaway. As each of you have found yourselves here, I'd like to know how you came to be in Runaway and how you know each other. Why don't we start with Henry, who... Actually, Henry might be the last to have joined us. What do you think? Because Henry did come from on
I could probably
high.
fit myself in anywhere by the expedient of falling out of the sky, so...
Totally fair. At what point in the recent history do you think that Henry did fall out of the sky?
That's a good question. I guess it might depend on how everybody else has fallen together.
Okay. Do you want to go
Yeah.
last?
Yeah, I'll go last.
All right. Bryn, you're a streeter, right? You came here from the underground many years ago and have like made a life here. So tell me about it. What's life here? You're muted, I think.
I was rustling paper. I'm so sorry.
No, thank you.
Yes, I barely remember my time underground. What I do, it's lovely, and I long for the time to get back down underneath, but I haven't ventured out yet to do that. So the space here is really rough, unless you know ways to sneak in and out and find some things, and so you learn really quickly, or at least I did, how to be sneaky, how to utilize my skill set for barter and trade to get cool new pieces of rustic equipment that might have been scavenged or something like that. And so I'm a tinkerer in general, and the space is not pleasant, very, very militant chaos, I guess, is kind of how I see it. And I probably have made friends with this crew, um, just in the tinker scavenge kind of need, I would think.
Okay. Who do you think the first person was that you met of this crew?
I think probably Ed, because Ed is a hollower, and so I think I would have been like, whoa, like much different vibe, not what I remember. Would have been interested enough in what I was seeing from a distance to probably make myself known and come on up.
Okay.
Or come on out of wherever I was hiding in this town.
And whereas we did get a physical description of Bryn already, Ed, can you describe to us what Shorty looks like?
So Shorty is kind of stocky. He's short, obviously, hence the nickname. He's got a pretty wild mane of hair, and he wears sort of blacked out goggles most of the time. Growing up underground, the amount of light that's up on the surface is just completely overwhelming to him. His eyes are sort of adapted for that really low light condition. So he's nearly always wearing this sort of mask that has these really blacked out goggles on him, and it's real obvious that he ain't from around here. He's one of those hollowers. I'm imagining that he got to run away when sort of his clan were tunneling through the trash, and they broke into some like pocket of bad air that just like absolutely made the area that they were in untenable to stay in, and that was sort of the straw that broke his old clan's back, and everybody else sort of ran them out and they scattered. So he ended up going up, trying to find some other society, some other found family to latch onto. And I think he sort of keyed on Bryn as like, okay, this isn't my family, but like it could be. And like I'm not gonna make it out here on my own.
Nice. Is it weird that all I can think of is you're just like a very, very short, like if you just took Vin Diesel from Pitch Black and just squished him down, didn't like do any other like adjustments, just made him shorter. So you're still as wide, but you're just very short.
And hair.
Yes. And hair, right.
Hair.
The goggle thing.
Yeah, I was getting kind of dwarf vibe.
So Shorty, after you met Bryn, the two of you met someone else. Which of the other two players was that?
I think it would be cool. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it, Shannon.
I was gonna say I think it'd be cool if we discovered Henry in like the airplane-ish area that you're not supposed to be in, because Henry recognized what this was, and kind of like went towards it, and Bryn was like, "Oh hell no, I gotta save this dude."
Totally.
And yeah, and maybe if Devin's cool with that, that seems authentic.
Yeah, I had a thought that could play into that. I was thinking so it mentions that the orbiters come down in groups. So I was thinking that he had a drop pod of like 4 people in his squad, and there was a sandstorm and they got separated, and so he wound up alone wandering until he sees this sort of something that might be civilization that he recognizes as maybe an old airplane or airport. So he sort of walks towards it, and you could wind up in places where he's not supposed to be.
Yeah, as you were coming out of the dust storm and being able to see maybe half a mile ahead of you, you noticed that there there was a airplane tower, like a airport tower, control tower. Thank you. And
landmark.
so you just kind of headed that way, and then as you got closer, you noticed that there is actually like it's not a huge airplane, it's more like a Learjet, that kind of that smaller jet size, not like a 747, that sits within a fenced in area with guards that walk around it. And you were like, oh, what's this? Off just to the left as you were heading in, there was like what you now realize was like is Runaway, the town. And as you were heading towards it, this kind of sparkly, gem-encrusted person came running out to save your life, because the Sky King does not like it when people mess with the one and only airplane that he has control over.
And I think before I come running out, like, I don't actually come running out. I think you feel something very quickly, like around your ankles, and you just go down. And then I'm like immediately there going, I'm so sorry. And I'm like taking the things off, just stay down. And then like bring you kind of off.
Did you get like boloed?
Right. Or tripwire.
Yes, you got boloed.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, you just got boloed. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's not rope. It's probably some kind of like weird wire that I found somewhere, probably maybe even from the airplane or whatever.
Or is it like woven from Shorty's hair?
Oh, maybe it's a combination of that. Yeah. You got to use what you got.
So that means the three of you eventually would meet Rook. How did that happen?
So I think Rook actually is. I'm envisioning Rook as a known storyteller in Runaway. Rook. So just to describe Rook, he is tall. He wears a lot of layers of clothing, because in the harshness of the desert, you actually need additional layers of clothing. You don't. If you wear fewer layers, you're actually more likely to not survive. And so he has a lot of like browns, like sandy colored clothes that he wears. Very few people have ever actually seen his face, because he almost always has a thick scarf and goggles over his eyes. He has the parts of his body that you can see are like a deep tan, and he has like sandy brown colored hair that you're not sure if it maybe has never been washed, but it's just like it braided like tightly to the top of his scalp. And most of his clothes are actually held onto his body with airplane seatbelts that he has scavenged.
Love it.
From the parts of the airplanes. And so like he has all of these like airplane belt buckles all over his body that basically just hold everything together for him. And he roams far and wide collecting bits and pieces that he finds in the wastes of what former civilization used to be. And so because of the way winds blow things, like sometimes he'll come back with a pilot's logbook and it's got like maps and shit in it. And he makes up stories about the better parts of the world that people can go to. And how one day, if we can get enough supplies and get enough people and, actually travel across the wastes, we might be able to go to this mythical place called Tucson. And like he always has these kinds of stories. And so he basically roams the entirety of the area surrounding Runaway and, through Runaway and such, acting almost as like he's a bright spot in the horribleness that is Runaway for people. He gives them hope.
Nice.
I love that.
So this has been kind of an annual or somewhat like broken up throughout the years that you've been visiting Runaway.
Mm-hmm.
At what point did you meet the other three?
Honestly, he probably doesn't even remember. He meets so many different people.
Totally.
And Runaway to me feels like a place that you could if you didn't live here, like every time you came back, you would be meeting new people. Partly because like it's such a bad place to live, it's easy for folks to die, and so like he might have met you guys 3 or 4 visits ago, and then comes back now, and it's like, oh, you're still alive. That's amazing.
Yeah. I think Bryn very much is familiar with Rook and looks forward to these visits, and actually, while scavenging, tries to one-up Rook.
Totally. You probably are actually the reason he has as many belt buckles as he does. You guys,
Yes!
Rook has traded with Bryn several times on various things to collect belt buckles.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, there's no buckles left in that plane. They're all gone.
You know, as someone who wears a seat belt, I appreciate this so much because they're so much more convenient to wear. Like my belt, my pants belt is a seatbelt buckle. It's like you push the button and you're done. Anyway, sorry, TMI. So the 4 of you are together. Where are you together today?
Ed, where are we together today?
I think we're in the concourse, and right now we don't have enough scrap to get like the water that we need, and we're like absolutely sick of the Sky King shit.
Perfect. You picked up on what I was putting down. Like, concourse isn't technically for you, but you would go there to get your water, and absolutely you're all there trying to get your water. They've apparently raised prices, whereas, you know, last week you would have gotten like 4 portions for the amount of scrap that you brought in. This time it's barely even a quarter of a portion. I feel like I've heard this somewhere.
Yeah, right? This is too real life, Jeremy.
I had a question. I was wondering if it's possible to edit our names so we could do like, you know, our real name and then like slash the character names if that would be helpful for people. I don't know.
Oh, over on your interaction?
I think he's just talking about in Video Ninja.
Yeah.
Or whatever it shows, yeah. It was an idea.
You would have to.
Okay.
I would have to redo your link,
and
you'd have to come back to do that.
But you can see our names.
If you go to Twitch, you can see it.
Yeah.
Well, also we could put it in the playing cards thing.
Oh, that's
yeah,
okay.
I have mine in the playing cards.
I love it.
Already.
Y'all so smart.
This is a little look at what happens behind the scenes, guys.
Let's see.
This is a peek behind the curtain.
I love it.
I was thinking maybe Henry has aspirations of building like some sort of like, you know, water filter or something to kind of break the Sky King's monopoly quietly, but he needs to find the right scrap to do it.
Is that your reason for venturing off into the wastes?
Yeah, it seems like a good idea.
I think it's great. What does everyone else think?
Yeah, I totally support that. I think I run up to Rook and just did you find anything from Philadelphia?
I don't know actually. So I keep finding this like, and he pulls out like a part of a piece of clothing, this weird bird that has a white head and it's surrounded by green, and it has like on the letters here say Philadelphia. I don't know what it means though.
What does it mean?
What are we supposed to do with this paper? I don't. I'll just hand it over to Henry. Can you use this?
Need something a little better. Let's. I mean, there's nothing for us.
Water? I don't know.
There's nothing for us here. Is there any way we have it anywhere around the any direction we haven't checked yet?
There's always places in Runaway that you can go to that people have either not come back from or have not thought to explore yet.
And beyond. Shorty, as
I've been trying to get into.
Shorty, as you're listening to this conversation, you notice several of the Sky King's goons feel like maybe they're called scoons. Several of the scoons who are heavily armed, kind of glaring at your group. One of them heads over to you. Move along. No loitering.
What? I thought you wanted people to go in here. And I point to the
You don't
direction
have
of
the
concourse.
You don't have the scrap to be in here.
Isn't that why you come to the concourse to collect the scrap?
No, you come to the concourse to get your water. You give us scrap for the water. No wonder you're standing around like a dullard. You had to think about that one.
Okay.
Don't make us send you to the terminal.
Oh no. The terminal. It's not like I haven't been there 2 or 3 times already.
If you'd been to the terminal, you wouldn't be out here.
Brenna's gonna just kind of pull him away. We're up. We hear you, and just start pulling him away. You don't want to go to the terminal. It's really bad. Nobody comes back from there.
Okay. I don't know. I don't see the point, and he just kind of points a thumb in the direction of the scoons.
I think we could take him if we get him from the side. I'm not paying attention now.
Sky King has a lot of goons.
There are a lot of scoons.
Do they
That's,
matter though? Like in the grand scheme of things, are they worth the effort?
And they've got bullets and guns.
So?
I was curious what you were saying about places that no one had the thought to explore.
Yeah.
There's stuff that's been overlooked around here.
Everything gets overlooked at some point or another. People are too focused on what it takes to survive and not focused enough on things below. I've explored places that have entire like underground openings that haven't seen anyone down in them in a generation or more.
I wonder if we could
Sometimes
find
just
like a fuel depot or even like a repair bay, something like that. If we could find the right cache, we could drink for weeks.
If we could finish the materials for my filtration setup, we could maybe even fix this whole problem. But I
Jeremy,
haven't
what
seen
does this
anything
area
that-
look like that we're at right now?
So you're in the concourse, so you're standing in an area that has all of these strange, wide structures. There's like a row of them down the length of this very wide hall. They have like rubber plating at like a weird angle that goes in like a very long loop around them. There's holes that go down into them, deeper into the building. It's out of these holes that they bring up, they turn on these machines, and the rubber plating starts moving around, and these containers of water will be brought up on them, and those are very heavily guarded. There are doors nearby that lead back out in the direction of Runaway. However, you do know that there's more to the concourse. You've just never seen it because it's off limits to Runaway citizens.
And how many of them are there here? Scoons?
Lots.
Are they? Okay. Can I look around to see if there's like maybe 4 of them that are new scoons? Like just got this gig. Don't really know so much.
Sure.
I have an idea.
Uh-oh.
What's your idea?
We wanted mayhem, right? I want to look around to see if there's 4 of them that we could maybe, I don't know, knock out for a little bit, take some clothes and
Everything
badges,
is very
like
much
that,
in the
and
open.
inside.
It'd be hard to hide knocking
Okay.
somebody out in here.
Yeah. Also, we don't want to be persona non grata around here. Why don't we go scavenging? Rick can show us some of these places that nobody's thought to check.
Sure.
Shorty always looks eager to go back underground. He's much more comfortable there.
All right,
Same.
so from this starting area that you're in, so we'll call it Runaway, but it includes the concourse in the terminal and the tower, as well as some ruins that kind of are around that area that have long since been picked over. Do you think that you are going overland, or are you finding a tunnel, maybe one that Rook has used before, or one that Shorty came out of, or maybe that even Bryn knows about?
Yeah, I think Bryn knows about all the tunnels here. Like, that's been a lifelong, ever since she came up, just seeing what she could dig out. Maybe that got, undone and all that kind of stuff. So for sure.
All
What
right,
about, can we try to get ascertain what the weather is like at the moment? Maybe we could use that as a guide. If the weather's okay, then we could check above land, and if it's not okay, we look for one of the aforementioned tunnels and explore down below.
sure.
There-
I'm gonna,
there's that
so we don't
horrible
burn through
suspense.
your cards, I'm gonna roll my yes, no, maybe die. As
Okay.
far
Wait, do we
as
have cards already?
Yeah.
no, but if I pull a card to see if it's a good or bad storm, I'm burning through your cards, and I don't want to do that. So to determine something like this, I'm just going to roll this die to see if, yes, it is nice weather. So it could be something that you stay overland for, or if you want to, if you feel like going underground is going to be more beneficial for what Henry's looking for.
I mean, it sounds
Above
like
ground is more Rook's, style, but I mean, he's not opposed to going underground in search of something. So.
going overground. We could also find entrances to underground spaces that haven't been explored yet.
Also true.
Exactly.
All right, so as the four of you begrudgingly stare at these scoons, but head off into the wastes with an idea of making Runaway a better place, maybe? This is where we're going to start the waste crawl portion of the game. So if we were in person, we'd have a piece of paper, we'd roll a d20 on it, we'd draw a circle around that d20, and much like a hex crawl, we would go out from there. We're not in person, and that was a lot of stuff to set up for this one shot, and so we're just going to use our imaginations. And in doing so, we're going that direction from Runaway.
Second star from the left and on till morning.
Exactly.
Perfect.
So, to do so, we are going to head out from this area. When entering a new area, I get to flip cards and find out what the risk rating is for the current locale.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. So, not great. So even though, as you headed out, the dull sun was kind of penetrating the thick dust that's kind of ever present, and you felt like it was going to be a good day, unseen in the distance, something is building in the sky. Rook, as we're moving through this area, you get this feeling, the hairs on the back of your neck start to stand up. There's a charge to the air. There is likely a storm coming that you weren't expecting. So this area starts at a threat of level 2, and there's an impending threat nearby.
I think as this is happening, Rook kind of like just inhales deeply. The air's a bit charged. We should find cover. And I think I would like to try to locate a place for us
Okay.
to have some cover.
So you're going to do a trial roll. You're taking a daring action. You get to choose one of your 4 attributes. I'm going to set a difficulty rating. Then I'm going to reveal cards matching the region's risk rating, which is a 2. So I get to pull 2 cards.
Is there an assist option in this system as well, or?
I did
You have
not.
to have cards to burn them to
Right.
aid an ally.
Okay.
Excuse me, sorry. All right, so I'm going to draw my 2 cards. For each black card that I pull, the difficulty rating increases by 2. I pulled a 3 of clubs, so now my difficulty rating, this is going to be, we're going to start with the standard test of skill, which is a 12. So the difficulty rating for this is going to be a 14 now. As you, like, even when you begin to brush against certain parts of your clothing, especially all those buckles, Rook, little bits of sparks and electricity are dancing off them, the little shocks every so often. This storm is growing rapidly. What would you like to use as your attribute to try and find shelter against this storm?
I'll use smart.
Okay. So you're going to roll a d20. Add your smart score, which is +2.
Total of 21. I rolled a 19.
Nice.
Amazing.
There's a reason he's lived this long.
Quite easily, knowing this area, even though it does shift around from the various storms that blow things in and out, you remember there was a... What kind of building do you think is nearby that has a subterranean area you can hide in?
So one of the things that that most people don't know about airports is because all they see is the gas trucks, and they assume that that's where all of the gas is stored as they're like refueling planes and stuff. But all of those trucks actually come out of a central location that is like where underground gas tanks are stored, and it's a huge facility usually. And so I think he actually discovers in looking around a depot, like a fuel depot. Long since, it no longer has fuel at this point, but because of how large those places are, it can offer a good shelter, and it's always it's fortified against explosion, basically. So it's a good place to hunker down if you need to hunker down. And so I think he finds like an underground fuel depot, or the underground fuel depot portion of the airport that is now runaway. And because I succeeded, I get to steal one of your cards, right?
You do. I'm assuming you like the red one.
I would, in fact, like that 8 of diamonds.
Oh.
Yeah. That's okay. You can drop it there, and then I'll pull it
Perfect.
into my hand.
Excellent, excellent. All right, so succeeding, as Miko said, you seize control of the moment in the scene and narrate when it unfolds next. Claim one of the revealed cards for your hand, but only if no cards were burned or for the roll, which there weren't. Also, make sure to always choose a red card over a black one. And then there's rules for setbacks, which you succeeded handily on that, so we will go over setbacks when we get there. Tell me what else happens. What do you all do?
Maybe there's an entrance to something underground here. We could look around.
Sure. I like that idea.
Okay.
Oh, maybe there was an earthquake at some point. And so in going down here, we discover that there is a rift that has torn open one of the walls that is exposed to some other underground portion.
Okay. Are Bren and Shorty doing anything? Do you want to elaborate on this scene at all?
I think Shorty's impulse would be to at least consider scavenging or looting the location before we continue to explore.
he might be excited to find an underground thing too. But yeah, the looting makes sense.
Yeah, I think Bren would be drawn to this new spot to go further in and potentially find some more caves and tunnels to get, where
Nice.
nobody's gone before. I think coming in, Bren would think that
Wrong franchise.
there's no way that people don't know about this spot. I think she would kind of assume that like other people have ventured out and found this place and there's probably nothing in there. Still look, but she's looking on the way to this hole in the wall. Maybe not going in yet, but kind of checking it out.
Totally.
Whatever she can shine in there or whatever. She's got a flashlight, or probably not a flashlight, probably something that, I don't know, glows in some way. Some kind of radioactive thing or something.
All right, so as you move through this area that has largely been picked clean, Rook has done much of the picking in recent years, actually. You're each going to go ahead and pull a card. When you loot a location, each player reveals one card. For each red card that you choose or that you get, you're going to get either a super cool gear or a random loot, which means you're going to hang on to that card and turn it in for experience later. So, I wasn't looking at the screen. Did you all pull your cards?
Not yet.
No.
I'll
Okay.
take that now.
So each of you can... We should probably... Perfect. You're all getting your
Oh
cards.
God.
Whatever, you guys.
Excellent.
I guess this has been picked over.
Yeah. Rook, you're, even living by your own words of there's always something that you're going to find places. You're a little non-surprised by the fact that when you're going through this fuel depot that it's just not, there's nothing really here. Anything
it
that's
exploded at some point in time, and now there's just nothing left.
This was probably one of the first things that got raided,
Right.
however many generations ago after the fall. Everybody was using the fuel. And so, I do imagine we find something. I think we actually find two skeletons, each holding a knife in the other's stomach, as if two people basically just knifed each other and died in a corner as they were fighting over the last can of kerosene or something.
Sure. And those knives have long ago since rusted and therefore aren't
100% not
viable
usable anymore.
options.
And
All right.
And they're both wearing very rusted and worn seatbelt belt buckles.
That's right. Because they're super convenient until they rust. I'm assuming that's got to be a pain.
Yeah.
I like
They
my
don't need it
seatbelt.
anymore, though. It's all
belt.
good.
So after looking around and not finding anything, this new fissure that's part of it's in the ground, part of it's in part of the wall that one of these tanks sits in. It's opened recently. In fact, the three of you who live regularly at Runaway, you remember the ground rumbling not long ago. Didn't do much there, but apparently it had more effect here. We're going to call going through the fissure your next area of exploration. And so we're going to go back to... This is where we would draw us. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think you see Bryn go into the backpack that she's got with her all the time. And she pulls out, she's got a pile of these just plastic or glass, whatever you would find in there, kind of all wrapped up. And inside them is a bunch of glow-in-the-dark mushrooms. So it's not much, but it's what she's got.
Just a very soft glow, yeah.
Yeah, and she just kind of puts one around her neck and just starts handing them out. And then you see her just kind of going through, I know I got another one in here, going through the bag to find that fourth one that she needs for Ruck.
It's okay. He's wearing the emergency pressure suit that he came down in, and he's got a little button that clicks, and it's this little sort of anemic light on his chest. Yeah.
Nice. All right, so as you all stare into this fissure. This is where we would draw a circle on our little map. And essentially this is to keep track of, as we were continuing to play over the weeks, keep track of what we've had. So we'll make a little mark that this first circle is the fuel depot. And then after that, we'll call it the fissure. And I am going to draw a card here to see what our risk rating is. Oh, our first... I think that's our first spade of the game? Maybe?
Didn't somebody draw a spade
Maybe.
for their attributes?
As you head...
Not me.
Oh, maybe not, yeah.
As you head through this fissure, we are starting with a risk rating of 3, and formidable obstacles arise. Get ready.
I just see this as piles and piles, like when it shattered and broke.
Right?
It's like, yeah, we've got to like dig to get it out. Like it's not like an easy cavern to get in. There's, risk of falling, and that's kind of how my brain saw it.
I love it. No, I love that. That's this area is very like shale, how it's very breakable. So like much of the earth around you is kind of, as you're moving through, it's kind of giving way, bits are falling off, and you're trying to not get cut. So we're going to do I feel like each of you is going to need to do a trial. Whereas the last time you kind of just did a trial for Rook define this, each of you is needing to move through on your own safely. So you're going to pick up your D20, choose the rating or the attribute that you are using, and tell me how that attribute is being used. So like you absolutely, I feel like human, I'm not going to let you get away with that one, but any of the other 3, you can tell me how you're using it to move through. And then you're going to roll a D20 and add your rating to it. This is going to be a formidable trial, which starts at 15. I'm going to pull 3 cards because that is our... sorry, the word escaped me. Our risk rating.
This 10 was the old one, right?
Correct.
Do we want to create a discard pile?
On your screen, you should see just kind of a pile of cards.
Okay.
That's what I've been using.
Just realized there might not be a way to shuffle the pile without pulling everybody's hands into it. There might be trouble.
So if you do recall and shuffle, I don't think it pulls from hands.
Oh, okay.
But that's something we probably should have tested.
I did do it earlier and it didn't pull from my hand, but...
Yeah, I don't think it pulls from hands. I think it pulls from holders. But even that, I'm not entirely sure of.
Okay.
Are we supposed to pull I have got this queen over here. Am I supposed to pull that over into my hand?
No.
You can just, if it's in your hand, make sure it's there'll be certain episodes that we do, or
if you succeed at this trial roll, you'll get to steal one of Jeremy's cards.
Right.
Oh.
Okay.
I did not.
I've got my 3 cards.
Like 2 black cards in there.
Yeah. Who's going first?
I rolled.
Shannon apparently already rolled, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
you said roll, my brain went roll.
Totally. So Bryn, as you delve into
7,
this,
so I got a total of 7.
Whoo. So Bryn, as you head into this, you notice that the ground is not shaking it's not an earthquake, but it's starting to slide. Bits are falling around you. The wonderful pull that I did with my 2 black cards increases the difficulty rating to 19. Your 7 doesn't quite make it. And so you have a setback.
So close, though.
As there's this slight downward angle that you have felt since you entered the fissure, and as these bits of rock break away, you realize that downward angle is increasing as bits break off and you're beginning to slide. You're going to mark an XP
Pull the lever, Rock.
for your setback. And
Mark an XP.
you are going to get... I feel like this is going to be a loss of endurance. Because I was debating on whether, unless someone has an argument for a great consequence to add, because it would be cool to start using consequences to get them featured.
How is she going about it exactly?
You've just been kind of walking through the fissure, correct?
Okay.
Yeah, well, I think that I've been, carefully kind of trying to pull the rocks aside. And, I'm used to moving the dirt or whatever, but I think Bryn is so, taken over by the fact that this is a completely different area that she's been in, and this might lead to something that I think she gets a little distracted as she's going through, and she loses that kind of paying attention to, actually doing this safely, and just starts going a little bit quicker. And I think as a consequence, it almost makes sense that I'm pulling this quicker, and I'm starting to move, and I think I'm getting through and breaking through, but I'm falling down away from the group probably, and maybe even in a way that I'm going to have to escape from or something. I don't know.
So just to clarify, I guess I got my terminology mixed up. So
I'm
I feel
moving
like
rubble to climb through this area, and I think I start moving it quicker, and in my haste to, because this is what I've been trying to do my whole life, whatever. So I'm kind of getting lost in that moment rather than doing this safely.
Right. So you get a consequence, which can be a loss of endurance. It can be a damaged weapon or armor, or condition. And condition, I think, is what I meant to say earlier. As far as is there a reason I should not roll a die to harm your endurance rather than
do whatever you need to do, Jeremy.
I feel like I'm going to throw a condition at you. Yeah.
Yeah, bring it.
So as you fall, this crevice kind of opens and you fall further down. As the rocks batter you about, you're going to get the condition battered and bruised.
Yeah.
Any
that just takes up an inventory slot, right?
Correct. So you eat up an inventory slot. Which you have a max of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So until you rest to get rid of it, essentially you can only carry so many things, etc.
And it has to be a full rest to get rid of a
correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that this system is open in that sense, where it allows you to really get creative with it, but it's a real world consequence.
Totally.
Because we all want to loot. We all want to fill the bucket of loot, So I like that it takes away that stamina, really. Too,
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So as you all watch Bryn disappear into this widening hole in the ground, who was just behind Bryn?
I think Rook was just behind Bryn.
Okay.
And because Rook knows how this works, Rook's been in this type of situation before. I think Rook knows that you have to go. You either write off the person that fell through, or you go with them.
Right, the avalanche down. Right.
I'm going to do a tough roll.
Okay.
And I'm trying to actually hold open the space enough for everybody to go down after.
Okay.
After Bryn.
All right, so you're aiming for a 19 or better.
I got a 14.
A 14.
Could burn cards to make up the difference.
It's true, you have that card.
I only have one card to burn, so it's not enough.
And it adds
2.
Gotcha. Okay. So we are going to do endurance on this one as you are standing there trying to essentially take the brunt, move, like hold everything aside for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
You are going to take 4 endurance, but you're going to roll your armor to resist. So roll a d4.
That's a 2.
All right, so what you're wearing, the vast number of belt buckles managed to deflect away a bunch of the more stabby parts of these bits of rock that are falling on you, and you're only going to take 2 from your endurance instead of 4.
Okay.
And endurance, after a full rest, you a full rest, by the way, is a week, not a night's sleep like in D&D. You restore all your endurance.
You can also do it on short and long rests, but it's a variable number too.
Correct. So all of your endurance in a full, and then you're available on your other stuff.
Right.
Okay, so who was going through the opening as Rook is fighting
Getting
against this
battered
avalanche?
while holding back rocks.
Guess we're doing this.
Go.
Henry's like, I'm out, and runs back the other way.
No.
All right, Henry, so you're aiming for a 19 with a roll of which attribute?
Let's see. I think we're gonna try smart, and the way
Okay.
we're gonna try smart is he's gonna see like a rusted piece of rebar. He's gonna try and like jam it in the opening and get through by ducking under it.
Okay, gotcha.
So let's see here. That's gonna be. I need my roller keep disappearing too. Oh well, pull it up again. That's gonna be 19.
Perfect.
I expect that to work.
Exactly
Plus
what you
3,
needed.
So yeah.
So you are going to get a success. Tell me how this happens. How do you succeed?
So this like stuff is like slipping and falling down and kind of hitting Rook, and okay, so he manages to sort of almost blindly like jam this thing in a way that it like a big piece of rubble kind of tent poles on top of it, and then the other stuff sort of settles and starts to kind of fall around, and it makes enough of an opening that he can kind of slip through.
Perfect. You get to choose one of my cards. You have a Jack of Spades, a Six of Hearts, or an Ace of Spades. Which would you like?
I think I should choose one of the red ones preferentially, right?
Okay.
Yes.
Let's see.
The only red one.
Yeah.
I'm going to drop this on your pile, and then you're going to move it over to your hand, so you have access to that.
Oh, how do I? Does that go?
Just drag it to the bottom.
Drag it
to
down.
Your space at the bottom of your screen.
Oh, I'm blind. Okay, so I got that, and I've got the 7 of clubs I got earlier. Okay, wait.
You
that was
didn't get that 7 of clubs earlier.
Oh, that okay.
that was just a card that
scavenging.
we drew. Yeah.
Okay, got it. All right. Okay, so I have now 1 card in my hand, I guess. Okay.
Perfect. So Shorty,
Okay.
watching all of this, you're the last to go through. Rook is starting to slip through the crevice, head down. What do you do?
I think Shorty takes one look at that rebar and the rubble starting to build up on top of it, and he sees it starting to creak and twist, and he's just like, fuck it, we're going. And he's just going to try to dash through there before
Perfect.
the thing collapses. So I'm going to use the fast attribute.
Okay.
And rolling a 5. That is not going to be enough.
Whew.
Could turn the tables if you've got it. No, maybe not.
As you go
Yeah.
through... Oh, sorry. What's that, Bryn?
Oh, I'm just like thinking about the gameplay or whatever. It seems, and it could be just because of our roles, but it seems like it's really hard to succeed. So is that like a specific wasteland? You know what I mean? Like it's really hard to survive in the wasteland. So is it really hard
Right.
to get good rolls? Like,
So
is that an intentional? I'm just curious. I'm trying to get in RP's head right now.
There's definitely a factor of it of the DM's choice as far as the starting difficulty. So for this, I did Formidable. This is very much a dangerous-ish situation where this is an unstable hole that you're going through that leads to an unknown area. And so I chose the rating of 15 was your starting, and then I happened to pull 2 black cards, which upped it to 19, which made it very difficult.
So this is, I think,
Gotcha.
literally as bad
Okay,
as it
cool,
gets. Yeah.
When you start at something
Almost.
easy, you start at a 9, which should be pretty simple for all of you to beat. And then it increases if I pull black cards. So it also
The other
depends.
thing that's on. Sorry, go ahead, Jeremy.
It also depends on how many cards I'm pulling, because if we are going into so when you go into an area and you pull that first card, if you pull a spade, you have a difficulty rating or risk rating of 3. So it means I pull 3 cards. So there's more chance of me pulling 3 black cards, increasing it by 6.
But there's also more chance of reward too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because if I pull,
if you succeed and he draws 3 red cards, then
Right.
everybody can get their hand size increased. So it's risk in it's an interesting risk reward system.
yeah,
Something
Where
else
the more risky it is, the more chance of reward there is, but also the more chance of things going really bad for
It's
you.
a cool bit of design built in, yeah.
Which
Something
is-
else I was thinking is that the characters can really take a beating too. There's a fair amount of endurance and up to 8 slots for consequences. So
totally. Yeah. And
resting is fairly effective.
Yeah.
having the armor certainly helps because it reduces your ability to shrug off that endurance loss and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
love it.
Normally, I wouldn't pause the role play and stuff like that, but because we're diving into the system, I just wanted
It's interesting to
to.
think
Absolutely.
about
Yeah.
Yeah, we're showcasing today, so this is the perfect
yeah.
time and place to talk
It's
about
fun.
it. Poor Shorty.
Did Shorty fail?
Shorty failed pretty miserably.
It's not
What's
your
his
birthday.
consequence?
Rook, you're trying to hold this open. The weight is getting to be just too much, and it pushes you. A piece of rock slips down on your back. You hear the buckles scraping against it as it just pushes you forward. Shorty, as you begin dashing, you see Rook disappear in front of you, and then the area he was holding up starts to tilt. That obviously doesn't have the balance that it had just a moment ago, and as you run and you try to duck under it, you go to like slide through the remainder of this hole. You just catch Rock to the face. That big slab that had been held up by the rebar drops down far enough, clocks you. You go flip backwards, tumbling down this tunnel. Rook, he sails past you. We're gonna call this an endurance roll. So you're gonna want to roll armor.
Now I'm imagining that scene in every Looney Tunes where somebody screams as they fall down a hole.
Right.
So I rolled a 4 on my my armor.
So as everyone comes to an end, the rubble settling behind you, you stand up and you forgot that you had that like, or you have that like mask on, right? You have that goggle set. And even though you felt the impact and it knocked you on your butt and you went tumbling down, you stand up and you're a little bumped and bruised, but you managed to shrug off all of the damage by taking the 3 damage that I rolled with your armor.
Nice.
And also because he failed that roll, he gets an XP.
And you get an XP.
Because there's also a fail forward component to the
Yes.
system.
So, no one else gets to select cards, I believe.
Correct.
Everyone has done all of that. So this is technically going to send us into a new area, which we will draw and set up after the break. We're going to take a quick 5. Actually, I'm just going to call it a random 5 to 10, because I always say quick 5, and then like 7 minutes later, I'm like, where is everyone? Or I'm wandering off. So hang out.
As Myriad likes to say, it should be a tight 10.
It should be a tight 10. We'll call it a
Feels like a
medium
whole different show.
wandering 7 to 5. No. All right. We'll be back
All
in
right.
a few minutes.
See you all.
Welcome back, everybody. Hope you had a good break. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks to the players for playing. Sorry, the last area you went through wasn't so kind to all of you. But we're going to talk
What we
about...
get for burning all our red cards early.
Right. Yeah, now all of the black cards are coming out. And there are still a lot of spade cards left for me to pull really horrible things on you. Looking forward to seeing how that happens.
It is a really interesting aspect of the mechanics where the using one deck until you exhaust it sort of guarantees an equal amount of favor and misfavor. Right. I haven't seen that anywhere else. It's very interesting.
So, I'm going to go ahead and remove these off my hand because we're in a new zone.
I could be wrong, but I think this is in all of the systems that they do. I think they have the card. Yeah, nice. Dynamic and all of that. I could be wrong on that. But
tabletop role-playing game design is such a big field, and I always feel understudied. It's people come up with all sorts of amazing ideas. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So many fun things.
All you got to do is browse itch.io sometime for TTRPGs, and you'll find so many just random games that are like this, that are like 1, 2, 3, 4-page games that somebody just put together, and there's so many cool mechanics out there.
Yeah,
like, you cannot do justice to it, to be honest.
I find it funny because, so I'll be honest, when I just doing a little review of this 4-page thing, when I was younger, I would have hated things like this because I'm like, where's the lore? How do I know how to play this?
Right.
But as I've grown in wanting to like tell my own story rather than the story that I'm being handed, this kind of game is so much fun because, like today, the 5 of us are sitting here just telling a story that we're making up as we go, rather than having to read a series of novels to understand how things go. I love it.
Yeah,
games very much like both of them.
Yeah, games like this, Kids on Brooms,
also fun.
Systems like that. I think really have broadened the horizon of the TTRPG industry as a whole, and it's amazing that we get to be part of that. So
great time to be alive for experiencing that aspect of being alive today. Trying to be super specific while being somewhat vague. No existential crisis on stream today. Okay, so as you all exit this crumbling tunnel that had opened, we're going to figure out what's beyond.
So how awful the
right.
Well, let's call it the catacombs.
The catacombs.
Sorry about that, guys.
And once again, I am going to pull.
Hopefully, if we get far enough, we can find a way out. I'm not sure we're getting back through there.
Did you pull another spade?
I did.
Jesus Christ.
Whatever, Jeremy.
So as you tumble out of this, Bryn's the first to exit. There's a certain smell to the air that stings your nose, Bryn. You're not 100% sure what it is, but you also hear something. You're pretty sure you hear something moving around. It sounds like it's further down this. It's hard to see because you only have these glowing mushrooms that are kind of illuminating the area around you. You're in maybe a tunnel, and beyond you, you can hear something moving further down as the rocks clatter noisily behind you. Here comes Henry. Rook stumbles through. Shorty rolls to a stop. All of you notice your eyes kind of water. What do you do?
Oh, I don't like that smell in the air. Hopefully this isn't toxic. Who am I kidding? Of course it's toxic.
I mean, we can't go back up now. We might as well keep going forward.
We have to push through. We shouldn't stick around too long.
I'm going to just go in my bag and fiddle through my bag to see if I have any type of... I mean, imagine I would have something extra that I could put on, even if it's, shambled mess of a mask or whatever, because I would think we would be coming up with something. So probably
Sure.
not going to do anything, but I'm going to grab that.
You probably have like, you know, like cloth dust masks and stuff from living in Runaway, because the dust in the air is kind of ever present. And so, you know, you have these things that you don't know if they are successful. Why don't we, are you all trying to cover your mouths, or is it just Bryn?
I would actually like to go ahead and burn my card in my hand.
Okay.
To use come prepared.
Nice.
Where I add something to my inventory, and I think that I think Rook has a collection of like airplane parts that he has scavenged, and I think he has the pop down oxygen mask things.
Right.
And because he's a dooner and is used to being in toxic environments, I think he has already like filled the bag portion of it with like cloth to help filter out. I mean, it doesn't do an amazing job, but
Sure.
I think it helps filter out, some of the more toxic aspects of what you breathe in this environment. So I'm going to go ahead and burn my card for that.
Okay.
Lower 2 gas masks were just layers of paper, believe it or not, and that was enough to protect you from the stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing how easy it is to make a filter sometimes.
What about Shorty? What's Shorty doing?
I think Shorty's sniffing around a little bit. He sort of goes forward a little bit. He puts his head down low. He's sort of sniffing. And I think then he's actually clambering up a little bit on the walls to try to sniff up a little bit. Trying to get an idea of like, is whatever's in the air, is it heavier than the air or is it lighter than the air? Is the air better up high or down low?
Sure.
Because he's used to climbing over or under problems.
Okay. And what's Henry doing? Bless you.
I think Henry's he doesn't have a mask or anything on him. They left their helmets behind in the drop pod. So he's gonna he's mostly interested in like he's got his hand on his he's worried about the sounds he's hearing. Is there something else? So he's got his hand on his pistol on his hip, and he's kind of looking forward and trying to reach, peer through the anemic light that they've got and see if what's down there and if there's a way they should be going.
Okay. So as you all are beginning to either protect yourselves from whatever is in the air, trying to decide what it is, kind of if there's a separation, if you can get lower to get out of it, and also trying to determine whether or not the sounds ahead are a problem. I'm deciding whether or not this constitutes a trial roll for any of you.
If there's a possibility of getting more cards, I vote yes.
Let's do it. Let's do it then.
There's the random luck mechanic to see what's there.
Yeah, so there's when you take an action with an uncertain outcome but no significant risk, you can do a trial roll but skip step 3, which is the risk rating part. Yeah, let's do that.
But then we don't get cards.
Yes, you are correct.
Maybe that tells us what we run into down the way, or I don't know. But...
Let's call it a luck roll for this, so we can do the mechanic. And this is like dealing with the crud in the air, because there's still something out there that will be more of a trial roll. So
there's also the solo oracle mechanic, but
I'm debating whether or not what this luck roll what the outcomes will be. Whether or not something like Rook, who has burned a card to essentially overcome it, I feel like you don't need to do a luck roll for this. You've burned your card to overcome it. But let's have Bryn, Henry, and Shorty all do some D20 rolls. Tell me what attribute you're adding to it, and we'll go from there.
So that brings up an interesting question.
Yes.
So a card was burned for this. Would you have burned a card knowing that this is just a luck roll?
Yeah, I think I would still burn the card, so I don't mind.
So there's still
consequence.
right. There's still
It
either a
just doesn't-
success
It
or
doesn't increase the difficulty.
Gotcha.
So Shorty, with his sort of scampering around trying to find, a high point or a low point,
Mhm.
I'm thinking that he's using fast
Okay.
and rolled a 19.
Nice. Let's do our rolls before we say what the outcomes are. So Henry, what did you get for your roll?
Henry's more concerned about what's going down the hallway, and he doesn't really have anything in hand to make a mask or anything. So I think we're just going straight tough for Henry.
Okay.
It's a +1 for him, and I rolled a 7, so that's an 8 total. So probably you.
Not the best outcome. And Bryn.
Oh, technically speaking, Jeremy, looking at inventory, the equipment will only lower the DR. It does say GM holds the final decision, but maybe I still roll just with a lowered difficulty.
Oh, I see what you mean. Sure. Yeah, we could do that. Bryn.
And I think that addresses what Shannon was saying before. Would I have done it? So
Totally. Yeah, that makes sense. So Bryn, what do you think your attribute is that you're using here?
Bryn is very distracted down here. I rolled a 1.
Oh no, it doesn't. You're like, it doesn't matter what attribute I'm adding to it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's no critical fumble or anything, so
There is that.
yeah.
All right, and Rook, what attribute are you using, and what do you get?
Probably smarts. I'm trying to discern whatever it is that's ahead.
Okay.
And you'll see.
17.
Bryn will just kind of shake her head, like she's just trying to shake herself out of this. This is abnormal behavior because she's very used to looting and doing all the things. She's not really sure why this is so off, but yeah.
Perfect.
I got a 17.
A 17. Okay, so Shorty, you're moving around so fast. You managed to kind of find where there are fresher pockets of air. It's not just a ever-present cloying miasma of toxic chemicals in your face, and you managed to do all right. You're keeping ahead of it or within a better area. Rook, obviously you're breathing through this this mask that you brought with you, making it all much easier. Kind of burns your eyes a little bit, but it's not stinging your lungs. However, Henry and Bryn, you pull out your mask and you put it up there, but you're kind of distracted, and every so often you realize you're not even holding it up to your face, and so you put it back up to your face and you look around. Henry, you're just completely unprepared and trying to figure out what's going on. The noises ahead of you are so weird and disturbing to you. Both of you are going to get a condition. We're going to call it bleary eyes, as your eyes kind of swell up. They're a little puffy, watering. It's difficult to see, as something is skittering through the dark beyond you.
We got critters. And he pulls back the sleeves on one of his layers of clothing and reveals these Shredder from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, type blades on the back of his hands. Except the blades themselves are actually sharpened sections of airplane parts.
Nice.
Yeah, Bryn is like wiping her eyes, and she grabs off her back. She just kind of flips it over, and it's like kind of like an axe handle, but then on the front of it is this weird gear type piece that is. It's basically like a saw blade, but the blade doesn't turn. It's fastened in, so it's just the sharp edges. And then there's some other jagged piece of metal that she's found goes to a point down at the end. So you've got the saw blade and then the jagged piece in the back.
So you made like the junker version of like a batleth, essentially.
Yes. Yeah,
Perfect.
exactly.
What does Henry do?
Henry's got his trusty pistol because they still have a working machine shop on the orbitals. They sent you down that completely unprepared, and a limited amount of ammunition. So he's just gonna like pull his gun out and he's like sort of sighting with his bleary eyes, like where is the?
Nice. And Shorty.
Shorty's got an improvised bow. It's made out of like a PVC pipe, and he's braided together some like bootlaces as a bowstring. Got some duct tape on the ends to sort of tie it around and keep it in place. So he's pulling that off and probably trying to put Rook between him and the worst of the sounds, just because he's not really looking to die a hero this evening.
Perfect. At the edges of your very dim light, you start to see movement. Seems maybe like just something small at first. Like, small is kind of a relative term, I guess. Something maybe the size of a chihuahua, but it's kind of looks like it has like a dark carapace on it. And as it moves forward, you see its many legs scurrying forward, carrying it as antenna, kind of move around. And out of the top of its head, you notice a sprout with some various fungus growths coming out of it. And it stops. It just kind of moves like it's sniffing the air with those little feelers. And then it screeches. And
That can't be good.
a carpet of these chihuahua-size mutant zombie ants breaks through the darkness and starts heading towards you. We're going to do some trial rolls here.
Hell yeah.
And you tell me what attribute you're using to overcome these ants, this army of zombie ants. We are going to pull 3 cards real quick.
Red.
We're getting rid of this one, and we're pulling a red, another spade, and hey, at least we're getting rid of these, right? Yeah, we're just getting them out of there. However,
That's right.
your stroll in the park has now increased. It is now from a 9 to a 13 is the difficult rating.
Great.
So,
Cool.
I think Rook, as soon as he sees this, like he's used to fighting creatures of all sorts, and he knows that when it comes to a swarm, the first thing that you have to do is disrupt the swarm's movement. And so he's like diving headfirst to like make it like split up into like smaller bits, so it's not just one mass of critter. I know that doesn't affect anything rules wise, but like
right.
thematically, or roleplay wise, he's just diving in, trying to get them to separate from each other so that you can pick, so other people can start picking them off.
Okay. So what are you calling that?
That's a toughness roll, just diving into fight.
Sure. All right, go ahead and roll it. You're aiming for a 13 or better.
Yay for a +4. I got a 13 on the nose.
You know, one thing we didn't do for this is roll initiative, but they're ants.
I didn't even realize there was an initiative.
Yeah.
There is. Which group goes first? Yeah.
Bryn, you seem like you were ready to do something. What are you doing?
I was, yeah. Brenda's going to use her smart, and also knowing that we need to separate this herd, she's going to go grab into her bag a handful of ball bearings and throw them so that they scatter all around kind of in a circle so that the noises are coming from everywhere to try to get their attention to go all over.
Gotcha. All right, go ahead and roll your dice and let me know what your outcome is.
Oh, I got a nat 20 that time.
Nice. I feel like there's a thing for this.
Improve your
Oh,
odds.
really?
So
that's a 24 total, but
where was
I think
that?
that means I get all the remaining red cards in the
it's
deck.
Page 3, third column top.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Page 3, third column from the left toward the top. Improve your odds.
Oh, was I actually supposed to roll damage?
Oh, yes, we'll get to that in just a moment. Sorry. You can go ahead and roll it. Just keep it for your keep it in your mind. We're gonna do it kind of all on your turn.
Step it up if you rolled a 20. So step up your damage die? Is that what that means?
Step.
I'm interpreting that as like if you roll a 20 on your weapon attack, and you
get
have
a
like
D8
a
instead of
D6
a
weapon,
D6.
you're gonna roll a D8.
Great.
That's how I interpret it.
Same.
Okay, cool. Cool. I'm gonna roll my Karlak D8.
Okay, so roll your damages. Keep them in mind, and we'll do this all at the same time. So Henry, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
Henry's going to
Roll
realize
another
that
roll.
these things are probably a waste of ammunition, so he's going to just use his boots, I think, like start, like get to one side of Rook and like start crunching down on the ones that are trying to get past.
Okay, so we're gonna call that a tough.
Yeah, tough or fast. I've got the same thing for both. So
Okay.
yeah. That's a 13 for Henry.
That's what you needed. Perfect. All right, and Shorty, you see everyone moving to take care of these ants. What do you do?
I think Shorty's he sees the work that Bryn and Rook are doing to sort of throw this swarm into disarray. He's just gonna stand up to his very tallest, 5'2", and aim down his bow. Take a minute to try to see if he can figure out, if there's like a queen or a leader in there, and then do a weapon attack straight between the antenna.
Okay. Are you calling that smart to try and figure out which one is the leader?
I was thinking fast for like aim and.
Okay, totally.
Okay. So I rolled a 15 and then a 2 for my fast, right?
Perfect. So 17.
And a d6 is a 6.
All right, so 6 from you. I believe it was an 8 from Bryn. Is that what I heard?
You did. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
No.
That ahead of time.
You were just fine. Rook got a
5.
5. And Henry, what damage did you get for stomping?
Oh, sorry, damage. That was I'd roll 1d6. 2.
2. All right. Sorry, for a moment, it's kind of like damage reduction in D&D. I'm like having to remove their armor from each of them. However, so of you all, Henry is kind of like dancing around and catching some legs and everything, but it's much harder to like, you're not really able to like stomp on them very much. They're moving out of the way just spry enough to avoid taking much damage from you. However, between the 4 of you, you do manage to pretty quickly smush, shoot, otherwise distract, and end this attack of a swarm of ants as the group of you I would like you to decide how this, because you all rolled successes, I only have 3 cards. And because we're just kind of doing it freeform as far as who goes first, I don't want to necessarily say Rook gets the red card
that
again.
20 should get the red card personally, but
Oh, well, thank you.
Once the
Everybody
card
good with
is
that?
in your hand, I don't think it matters what color it is, does it? There's the reason it does.
so I don't know actually.
I'm going to drop the red card over on Shannon's pile. So
Yeah, I think you can
just grab
burn a
that.
card for anything, regardless of the color.
Who else would like a card? Or rather, who's willing to forego getting a card as your bonus? Or
I'll forego.
okay,
Okay, I was going to say Henry didn't do very well, so I'd be happy too, but okay.
No, I'm fine.
Henry, there's your card, and Ed, here's your card. And you'll just grab those and pull them down to your hands for use later. As you stand and hear the sting still kind of making your eyes water, but otherwise the only thing you really hear is every so often the clatter of a rock falling to the floor behind you. What do you do?
So just for flavor, because it's fun and I had basically a batleth on my back, while this chaos was happening, threw all of the little ball bearings all over the place, and then just kind of came in and went to town, back and forth, and then hopped back up on my rock. And I'm like still getting the stuff. And some of the times I hit one, some of the times I hit a rock instead because I'm still wiping my eyes. I can't really see everything. Back up, just for flavor.
Nice.
Just because I have a cool weapon.
I love it. Yeah, every so often, those of you who could see clearly saw the sparks off of the rocks as Ren was flinging this thing around. But you also, in at least equal measure, saw bits of ant flying everywhere. So definitely effective.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there any harm to us scavenging? Like, or should we scavenge before moving on?
I think you generally scavenge in every location where you're sort of victorious over the stuff, right?
I think we should scavenge some of these parts from these creatures.
I mean, there might be like bits of useful stuff.
Well, you know, me
around,
handing
like
that out for
debris.
combat was probably actually incorrect, wasn't it?
You're not taking my card back, Jeremy.
No. So what I'm thinking is there actually might be enough cards for all of you if you scavenge here, because
Well, we reveal new cards for scavenging.
Yeah.
Every
Oh,
player
that is
reveals
true.
a card
sorry, I
and
messed
then
that up.
collects red cards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every player draws a card to scavenge, and then any red cards that they get, they can either pull into their hand or trade for an item or weapon as an inventory slot.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And I think we just scavenge, right? There's no
Yeah.
negative. We just, there's really no reason not to scavenge.
Let's see how we do.
Okay. So each of you pull a card over to your hand, do a awesome reveal. All right. So for black
got it red.
cards, you're just eating up the black cards. Nothing bad happens. For the red cards, you're going to choose between a super cool gear item or a random loot. So you can either keep it in your hand to burn it later or turn it in for XP when you get back to town.
I'll keep mine in my hand for right now.
Okay. So Ed, you had the other red card. Do you want to turn it in for an item that you find here, or do you want to keep it in your hand for later?
Let's call that the random loot, which I think is me keeping it in my hand, right?
Yep. Okay.
I mean, potentially you could get
What's
like better armor or weapon or something this way, I guess.
Yeah, so you can, if you do super cool gear, you can add an item or weapon that takes up space in your inventory, but this is where you could potentially get like stronger weapons or armor. Or maybe as you're scavenging, you build a suit made out of ant carapace.
Yeah.
That
Is there a
sounds very
relationship between like the inventory slots that we have and the cards that represent like loot, or do those mechanics work together at all?
I believe like so. If you when you draw a right card and you turn it in for an item, then you're going to put that item in your. You're going to get rid of that card, and you're going to put that item in your inventory. And then if you do random loot, then you're keeping the card, but you don't have it in your inventory, so it's not eating up that spot.
I see. So the inventory is more. It isn't for loot that becomes XP. It's for
Correct.
Items that can be weapons or, coming prepared. That I got it. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, and like so, random loot could be, maybe you found. If you're keeping it here to turn in for XP later, then maybe I feel like it's something we wouldn't say what it is here. At the end of the game, you would say, when we were in the ant area, I found this thing that Martha over at the cafeteria has been looking for, and you would go turn it in and get XP for it, essentially. All right. You have survived the zombie ant invasion. You have searched around and found some odds and ends that will be defined later. Are you continuing on?
I think so. Just for sake of, I just want to make sure I'm understanding this correctly too, and also for the people that are watching.
Mm-hmm.
When we're talking about trading in and everything else, all of that comes with burning cards, and that's where we have those 5 different things that we can do if we burn a card.
So under scavenging, you have the option to do random loot. So if you kept a card for later, then you can turn it in for XP, which isn't burning it, but then there's separate from that is burning a card for different effects like the coming prepared.
Unless I'm missing something, under burning cards, one of the options is trade loot, mark XP for each card you give to a trader.
Totally, and that's how
so that's different than what you're talking about? Or that's the same?
Yeah, because when you're trading for armor and stuff, you're not getting XP for that.
So when you scavenge, you can use the card, essentially use it up to get really cool loot. But for burning cards for trade loot for XP, you don't get loot; you just get XP for it, and you can use a card you get from any source for that, not just the scavenging stuff. I think that's how it works out.
And then later, when you if you turn in your card for a point of XP, you can do under experience on page 4. Once your track is filled, it's time for your character to level up. Clear your XP track and do one of the following. For each attribute, reveal a card, increase your attribute by that number, or stays the same, or you mark XP. You can also up your endurance. So it's essentially how you're getting stronger and smarter, as opposed to getting, I got a stronger gun or I got better armor. So there's a separation between getting the things from the loot, getting it as XP, or saving the card to burn as one of the effects that you can burn it for. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I was reading it and you were talking about it, so I wanted to make sure that I was getting it and that those at home were following along as well.
Right. Okay. So as you stare down this darkened tunnel and continue into the next area, we're going to pull a card for the risk rating. Starts at 1. It's a moment of serenity gracing the land. So your risk rating, right? Your risk rating is 1. And as you head into this area, there's actually like a very faint glow. It's kind of a familiar glow. From the walls, you can see these bioluminescent growths. Some are mushrooms, some are other fungus. One is a fun guy. He's just kind of dancing in the
I
corner.
was gonna- you beat me to it.
Sorry, had to.
Had to.
Henry's kind of
Respect.
speculating that this is what the ants were feeding on, and so we were probably invading their nest with their food supply.
Very well could be. You're not seeing any obvious dangers in this area. What would you like to do?
I'd like
Do you
to
guys
pull
need
a
a
little
rest,
bit
or
more of
should we
that.
press on?
I'm sorry, what was that?
I was
Shannon,
just
go
gonna
ahead,
like
sorry.
pull the bioluminescence off of the wall a little bit more, so so we can get a little bit more depth to our glow now that we're going full force in here.
Mushroom light grenade.
And Henry, what were you doing?
I was just asking the others. Do people need to stop for a short rest, or are you guys ready to press on?
Oh, let's do it.
Here we press on.
Okay, especially with the air being questionable down here, that's probably a good idea. Okay.
I mean, the at the moment, with there not seemingly being any impending danger, I think it affords us an opportunity to catch our breath and to look for a proper direction to be going, as opposed to wherever we're being forced to go.
Yeah. Also, can we loot this space? Is that a thing?
Absolutely can scavenge.
So I think Rook's intention here is to be looking around for what our options are as far as getting out of this fungal cavern.
Sure.
Part of scavenge as well, I guess. But
So let's call, since you can do multiple things, we'll call Rook's thing a trial. Probably a smart.
Sure.
So go ahead and do a smart. You're starting off at 9. I'm going to pull one card.
I got a 13.
You easily find there's actually, it looks like there are multiple ways out, but after just like a brief inspection, you notice that only one of them is really a viable tunnel that leads the way. The others are just kind of small extensions of this cavern. And then whoever wants to scavenge can go ahead and pull a card. Oh, thanks for getting
Sorry.
the king out of the way.
Do I get that king for successfully doing the roll?
I don't know. Do you?
That would make sense.
It was a trial, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, you can.
Oh, come on.
All right, so it looks like 2 people found things, Devin and Miko. Tell me about what you found.
Henry's excited. He finds a part in a corner. It's a kind of a metal thing with flanges and some bolts sticking out of it, and there's a gauge on the side. And he's like, "This is amazing! I can't believe this is down here. This is a pump. We can use this. I need other pieces, but this is something that we can use to make a filter eventually if I get the other things I need."
You notice,
That's amazing.
as you're saying you're so surprised that this is down here, you notice that there are dents in it, little scrapes, and connecting it with the ant swarm that you just dealt with, they probably carried it down here from somewhere nearby, which means there's probably other parts if you can find them. And
Cool.
Miko, you got a red card as well?
Yeah. Given how we started this adventure, I think he actually finds a large reservoir, like large enough for 4 people to consume, of water.
Okay.
So that's what I'm using my card for.
Is this something that they can bottle and add to their inventory?
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, so everyone can add a...
Wait, I think it's like we need water now
Yeah.
to stay healthy and whatnot. And so I think that he just finds some water to give to everyone.
I feel like it's something, because it's like enough that you could drink while you're there, but you could bring some with you as well if you wanted to add water to your inventory. But if you don't want to add the slot, if you don't want to fill up the slot, then you can choose to leave that bit of water behind. Totally up to each of you.
I'm absolutely fine filling the slot.
Okay. So each of you can add essentially like a jug of water to your inventory if you'd like.
Excellent.
As long as it's not Dasani.
It's not really water.
To be fair, that's my least favorite bottled water. I try to avoid bottled water in general, but it's like for some reason the worst.
Lots of reasons why it's the worst. We don't need to go over those reasons right now. No one should be drinking Dasani. And I'll just leave it at that.
Right. Okay. So
We only have 11 cards in our deck.
Yeah,
what
let's
will
go.
happen?
Come on.
11 cards, 30 minutes left. What will happen? Oh, do I see a cozy? I do. Hi, cozy. Good to
Cozy.
see you.
It's kind of an interesting built-in
it's
timer to
Kind
a
of hard
session.
not to see cozy, just saying.
I was saying it's kind of an interesting like pseudo mechanic of let's play until we run out the deck and then call it
Totally.
a day or something. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I love it. For streams, super convenient too. Okay. So as you head into the next area, I'm going to go ahead and pull a card to find out what your risk rating is. Bloop. We've got a 7 of hearts. Once again, this area is going to start off with a risk rating of 1, and it seems like there is no danger. So who would like to describe what this area looks like?
It's a crystal cave.
Like
Walk in.
a limestone cave with these huge towering crystals from the ceiling and the floor. And
Yeah, with a little bit of a, dare we say, river running.
It's probably the river that's feeding that water source or that pool that you got your water out of earlier. And as you're moving in, you notice that even though the fungus on the walls is beginning to lessen, the light from the fungus you're carrying begins to refract through these crystals that are throughout this area and kind of begins to carry the light ahead of you, making kind of a natural like flashlight or extended range for your light. You don't see anything of that's going to be particularly harmful to you at this moment. Do you want to scavenge?
Heck yeah.
Sure.
That answer is always going to be yes.
Right.
What was the 7 of Hearts Jeremy card or?
Yeah, sorry, the 7 of Hearts was my card, and there wasn't a trial, so that'll just get mooshed off to the side. Thanks for moving that.
So Miko.
I'm over
Miko,
5.
stacking the deck over there.
I can see why Rook is a legend.
Right?
Yeah,
He's-
Really good at finding things.
It's just
yeah,
the
I
way
love
it
that
is.
it's matching the character.
All
I'll
right.
just pocket that.
Okay, perfect. So whatever it is that you find along the way, you just kind of save it aside for later use.
I think at this point he isn't even fully aware of all of the things that he pockets. He just is always on the lookout for the next danger and the next place to go, and just randomly notices things and pockets it.
Right.
And doesn't actually register.
Okay. At first I thought
everything.
this was going to a Kender sort of thing.
Right. I just borrowed it.
I kind of imagine that, like, at the end of the day at camp, you're sitting by the campfire and you're like, oh, I don't remember pulling that out. You're like just going through the bag of stuff.
Love it. Very, very cool. You can rest here if you want, or you can continue on.
I think we continue on.
Yeah, we might stop for a quick drink or something and then continue. Yeah.
So moving through, you pass by these crystals every so often, some of the reflective surfaces being somewhat like a fun house. If anything, the most weird one is Shorty at like normal dimensions. but then everyone else is, has like the squat version and like the warped version and stuff like that. But you get to the other side, and before we do any descriptions, I'm going to pull the next card to see. You get another heart. I'm just eating up your hearts.
Right.
And move that out of the way. I remembered. You enter into this area. Who would like to describe what you see?
Go ahead, Ed.
I think we've come up against a crack that leads into a basement, and it is charred and it's wrecked. But looking around, there's twisted machinery and parts everywhere. This is clearly where the ants pulled the pump from.
Nice. How large is this space? Is it is it like somebody's basement, or is it like the basement of like a complex?
I think it's really difficult to tell.
Okay.
Because there used to be just many racks, of shelving and such. But between all of the detritus that's on them and, the building sort of semi-collapsing, it's become a little bit more of a labyrinth. So it's difficult to tell just how large this place is without proceeding further.
Is there any source of sunlight? Like this collapsing building, is it collapsed enough that the sun is peeking through, or are you far enough down that it's not visible?
I don't think that there's any sunlight coming through.
Okay.
But that could be because we're very deep, or it could be because the sandstorm got worse and nothing is even making the surface.
Okay. As you look around and you see these charred remnants of things, you do notice some signs of bones, also heavily charred. But do you want to scavenge for anything else? I know Bryn doesn't want to, but does anyone else want to scavenge?
This is me in every RPG I play.
Yeah, Henry's very interested in what he can find here. There might be more pieces that he can use.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely scavenge.
Oh, come on.
Or
Go for
not,
6.
or not, or not.
Oh.
While you do find many parts, Henry, you're getting frustrated because even though you see some things that you're pretty sure were something you could use, once you pick it up and you look at it, it's just trash. Everything is just whatever fire broke out here before or after that piece that the ants carried out has just destroyed everything else, leaving this room just a graveyard of parts and probably some people.
Can I burn the one card that I have to do come prepared and have it be where I set my backpack down for a second while I'm looking, and it like tips over and out falls the exact piece of part that Henry is looking for.
Like it was already in your backpack?
It was in my backpack this entire time, but I don't know what it is.
I love this.
Henry knows what it is.
Sure,
I love it.
So Henry needs, he wants to make a reverse osmosis pump, and so he needs like pumps, and he needs like a carbon, like some filters, and so out falls this bottle of liquid sloshing around, and it's got a faded label on it, and it's the exact chemicals he needs to make a semi-permeable membrane. He's like,
love it. Yeah, it's something that you picked up. Bryn picked up a while ago. I think it was water or something, and then like after opening it, you realized, oh well, that's not water. It's something kind of abrasive to your nose and stuff. So you just kind of screwed the lid back on, and you were like, I'll figure that out later, and then completely forgot about it until now.
Yeah. It's like it's all dusty. It's it's a little dented because it's been in my backpack poking around for a little bit. Or
Henry's like, here, be very careful. Wait, I can use that. That's amazing. Now we just need to get out of here.
So you can't go back the way you came. There was no going back up the tunnel that collapsed, and Rook didn't find any other tunnels out of the fungal cavern. So it's up and out from here. So as you begin to work your way through the collapsed hallways, you notice that the fire has spread, or had spread, throughout much of the building, leaving not much behind. I'm sure this card is going to be one that you all want. That will mean
Last card,
right? It's not a heart, so
it's not black.
An unexpected twist.
Yes.
Turns the tale, huh?
So starts at 2 for risk rating, and then the unexpected twist. Okay, good. I'm gonna move this here for a sec. I am gonna hit the recall and shuffle button because in order for you to deal with this, you all need cards. Bloop. Oh,
Maybe,
it did pull all. Oh no, you still have cards in your hands,
I
correct?
still have my hands. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Maybe this brought us back under the airport, and we're coming up in a place where we shouldn't be.
Underground parking garage, maybe.
I love this.
Or we find the room that we're not supposed to be in, that they're hiding for,
Right?
like they're
As you are heading up, it makes sense now as you start noticing some scoons walking around, holding guns. But it clicks in your head that that room that you were in was likely a parts room for all of the things that would be needed to repair various things throughout the airport, including water filtration systems. As you are heading through this area, you're not out of danger, but nothing is looming ahead of you as you are quite like the thrumming of the machines that are still running. They're just distraction from not realizing that there is essentially a crack in the foundation now from some point recently. The earth moved and revealed this area that you could get into. You've come full circle. Almost. You still need to get out of the I almost called it the Colosseum. Concourse. Yes.
concourse.
Those
Before
who are about
Bryn
to
leaves
scavenge
this-
salute you.
Yeah. Before Bryn leaves this room, she's going to find a dark spot and put all of the little creatures and things that she collected for luminescence back on the wall in that dark spot.
Okay.
She heads out.
Gotcha. All right, so what's your plan to get past the scoons in this area of less threat than where you were seeing them earlier? There's just a few walking around guarding rather than dozens.
Can I do like a search for like a break room, a closet with extra, outfits or something, or if I was working with chemicals, I have a thing on with the hooded mask,
Totally.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, I like that one. Let's call that your trial roll.
Okay. Rolling a d20, right?
You're rolling a d20, and do you want to call this smart? As you're trying to
Sure.
Do you
find.
want all of us to be doing this trial, or just?
That depends on what you're
Bryn.
all choosing to do. I guess, do you want to all do this together, or are you each kind of adding a different thing to this escape?
So, Bryn, is your goal to get by the scoons by disguising yourself?
All of us, but yeah.
Okay.
So I guess let's find out what Bryn's role is, because Bryn's role might help the rest of you automatically.
15.
All right, so you started at a 12, and at a 2, you beat it.
Nice.
Did you draw your 2 cards?
Do I get a
Shannon?
card?
Did I draw my 2 cards? I did not draw my 2 cards.
Because that can affect the difficulty.
Oh, come on.
Sorry, I was thinking I did, but I didn't. 1, 2. It did not.
Nice.
Nice.
So actually, you beat it even better. I was thinking I had already drawn a black card for some reason. So you beat it even easier.
Because that's what I've drawn all game. So you just assume that that would be my fate.
However, you, let me just double check. You get to claim one of the cards. So
Cool.
I'm going to drop a red card on your pile. Just move that to your hand.
Thank you, sir.
And then, as Bryn is searching around, you find it's kind of a break room. It's more of a locker room as opposed to like someplace you go for coffee. This is an area that has several metal lockers that are lined up. That some of them are open, some of them are shut. Most of them don't have locks. You can tell that like there's like some scarring from where the locks were like broken off years ago. And inside a couple of them, you do find some heavy, plasticky feeling, I don't want to call them robes, outfits that completely like cover you as far as it has like breathing apparatus and everything.
Oh, like a bunny suit, they call them sometimes.
Yeah.
Like for dealing
I'm
with
picturing like
materials or
ET.
something.
I'm picturing ET.
The most horrifying
as they're
scene
walking in and out.
of any child's movie ever.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm picturing the old ads for Intel microprocessors, but okay.
Equally as scary.
All right, so do you all want to, use the success to, essentially what I'm thinking is we could use it to step down the difficulty if you were to dress up and then try to use human to go by, or what do you all think?
Yeah, we can probably talk our way through by attempting to use minimal words and looking like we blend in. It's like the old trick with the, nobody questions somebody with a, workman's hat and or hard hat and a clipboard or whatever, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just walk like with confidence, like you supposed to be here.
All right,
and it's
so
like on the orbital, I did this thousands of times to get to places where I wasn't supposed to be. I got this.
So we're gonna call this a
Exactly. Casual strut. That's right.
So this is a new thing. So I'm going to pull new cards.
It's going to be red ones.
Red one. Oh, there's a black one. All right, so it increases your DC, your DER, your difficulty rating from 12 to 14.
But did her success step us down?
Right. So then your success is going to step it down by a red card, essentially, or like by essentially removing the black card. So we'll go back down to a 12. Does that sound fair?
Sure.
Sure.
All right. So tell me what this looks like as each of you are trying to meander your way out casually, and then make
Henry
your.
wants to sort of take the lead and let people follow and kind of look like he belongs there and kind of if anybody says anything, he'll just like say something short and sort of like get back to your patrol or something, like kind of like he's in charge.
Gotcha. All right, so why don't you do a human check?
Okay, so I rolled an 8 plus his human of 4. So 12.
Which hits your 12. Perfect. Who's following Henry's lead?
Okay. Oh my gosh. That one.
Nice.
Oh no.
I love it.
No.
I love it. It's gonna be great.
Oh no.
Bryn's having a hard time in this suit. It's like very confining, and it crinkles weird when you move, and it's like the air inside starts smelling funny. So you're just kind of like swatting at things and moving around. It's very awkward. Henry, you notice some of the scoons kind of glance over in your direction. Who's following Bryn?
Go for it, Ed.
I think that might be Shorty.
Okay, Shorty, what do you do?
I think Shorty is going to make a big show of scolding Bryn that you need to shape up, or the Sky King is gonna absolutely kick your ass.
Nice. All right, let's call it
Irrational get cut again. Do you want that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going for a 12 with your human roll. Let me know what you get.
All right, I rolled a 5.
Oh no.
But I would love to burn a card to turn the table and
Okay.
turn that setback into a success, with you getting to choose a consequence.
I love it.
Extra, I think. Does this mean you get 2?
I'm sorry, what's that?
I was wondering. So this was something about the mechanics I wasn't sure about. When you turn the table, you turn the setback into success, but you introduce a new consequence. Does that mean you take the original consequence for the setback and the new one, or just one? I wasn't sure.
I feel like it's a new one, like you're
Okay.
changing the scene.
Okay.
Um
But you also don't get to draw one of the cards
Right.
if you burn a card. So
Right.
he's not going to get the benefit of drawing a card either.
all right.
Just for flavor, before you say what's going to happen, as I get scolded, I kind of imagine that like I'll go forward a little bit, like he poked me in the back, like
Yeah.
to toughen up or whatever, So I'm just kind of flowing with it.
Get a free pupper treat for being a whiny turd.
We can't hear him.
I'm so surprised. The limiter that I have must just be amazing, because it's she's so, I have noise canceling headphones on and she's so loud. Okay, so last is Rook, and I'm curious what the role will be.
Are you going to introduce his consequence first, or
Oh, yeah.
do you want me to go ahead and roll?
I'm gonna wait.
Okay. That is an 11,
An 11, missed it.
but I'm going
by
to burn
one.
a card.
Okay.
I'm going to burn a card to press on, giving myself the +2.
Excellent. There's a moment of awkwardness as this group of scoons are kind of eyeing you. You can see one raises up. Brooke, you've seen these before. They're like devices that you like can talk to other people through. And like if the other person has a similar device, they can hear you no matter how far away. Well, you don't know how far exactly, but you think it's no matter how far away they are. Henry, having been on the station before, has definitely seen handheld radios, and he sees the person raise it up and begin to speak, and then he kind of looks down at it and clicks the button. There's no sound. Must have not charged it. And so he's kind of watching as you all move along. And then he shrugs and looks back at his cohorts, and they just go back to talking about whatever they were talking about.
So Devin was the only one of us that actually succeeded without
Right.
spending a card, right? So Devin at least gets one card out of it.
Totally.
Oh, okay.
For sure.
But if you, I feel like the consequence for that means that we don't get to scavenge.
That is totally
Yeah,
fair.
got to
You got to introduce a consequence.
Yeah,
So
that
if I
makes
could
a lot of
offer up
sense.
that consequence, I think that the consequence is we don't get to scavenge.
I love it. And
Yeah,
that
'cause we
works
gotta
in that
hold.
last, because as far as consequences go, there's like the narrative mishap, which goes very much into removing that benefit for you to continue trying to find things as you're escaping the concourse. As you exit through a fairly, not unguarded, but there's less guards here. They're not expecting people to be coming out, especially. as you exit from here and hasten your way towards Runaway, the other consequence that I would put in, should this be an ongoing game, in Shorty's suit, a small fungus was starting to grow. There's a little cut from where you were cut by the rocks earlier as you pushed your way through. And later that night, you kind of start losing your sense of smell and your sense of taste. You just get this feeling that you need to go out and like start collecting certain things as this zombie fungus begins to spread through your system. And with that, we are going to wrap up this one shot of Wastewalkers. Players, I would love to hear what we've kind of been talking our way through it, but do you have any other thoughts before we wrap up? Like, what did you think of the system?
I like the mechanics of the system very, very well. I feel like it could benefit from we'll call it a page of inspiration, like a 5th page in the PDF that is inspirational things for each of the various components of the game, like weapons, consequences, loot, things that are appropriate to a post-apocalyptic survival type thing. And even a scenario where like the inspiration bits can be tied to like die rolls and such for those moments when somebody just can't think of something appropriate.
Totally.
I think it could benefit a lot from that. But as far as mechanics go, I really like that it's got built-in fail forward stuff. There's also another component that we didn't think about. If all you do is hoard cards, and because you have a higher propensity of like getting red cards instead of black cards in your hand, right? So if you hoard cards, say we've got 4 players here. If all of us had 4 red cards in our hand, we would be really setting ourselves up for failure the longer the game goes.
Right.
Right.
It really encourages you to cash them in for XP or use them. Yeah.
Right. It really does subtly encourage you to actually use your cards to gain benefits. So
Love it.
I really like it.
To build off of what you said as far as things being extra things for the game, inspirations. Our Fari RPGs is running a game jam for this, so I don't have the specific link for it, but if you head over to the link that's in there right now, their itch.io, you can I'm pretty sure you can find where the game jam is, and people are building other things for it, either building off of the system to build a different game, or why don't you head over and make something, go over and build some tables for people to be inspired by. And I
was thinking it would be very easy to reskin this into like a fantasy game or something.
Absolutely.
Like super easy.
Oh yeah.
And then almost called you Henry. Devin, real person Devin, I feel like you were about to say something else.
Oh no, I was thinking about the reskinning and like how flexible this is. Like as an underlying thing, it's very it supports that sort of hex crawl exploration thing very well, and then it gives the players and the GM room to add more layers on top in a sort of narrative way. So you can make you could have it as a very simple kind of like what's around the next corner game, or you could start to work in ongoing plots like we found ourselves doing a bit, and I think that's really cool. I don't know if there's anything like any add-on mechanical thing to support more long-running ideas that somebody could come up with that would be kind of interesting, like rewards for resolving conflicts, or something kind of like story rewards or something. Maybe I don't know. I'm spitballing, but that would be kind of an interesting thing to think about, to kind of add another layer.
Nice.
I just dropped.
Nice. Perfect. Thank you for finding that. That's what I forgot to do beforehand.
You're welcome. Which means, in true ADD fashion, I heard nothing of what was said in the last minute and a half because I was
Well, excellent.
very much focused on that. So if I repeat anything that you said, I promise I'm not stealing it. I just didn't hear you.
Perfect. Do you have any feedback?
I did want to come. Yeah, I wanted to comment on a couple of things. The first off, if you're creating a game in the game jam, I can tell you that RP is phenomenal as a support person in working with creators and providing materials, and he's got base stuff that you can use kind of like as a starting point, and in his Discord and everything else, he's great. Just very accessible creator. So if you're looking to get started and you're just not sure what to do, just jump in and just get involved over there, and you'll be very well taken care of. So I wanted to throw that out there.
I have to say, in my own interactions, he's been one of the most supportive designers as far as supporting the stream, and obviously supporting people who are creating things off of what he's made. So
yeah, 100%. And even when he does these game jams, it's because I contributed to the last one, and
nice.
I can tell you, I had never done anything with a card-based system before, and I did not do anything with the card-based system for the last one. I just did something slightly different, and even with that, he was very supportive in getting that out, because for him, it's all about supporting the creator and getting the things going. So so just jump in.
Love it.
On that, I wanted to just kind of jump in on what Miko said earlier too, in terms of like the card structure and everything. I love that system of forcing you to be strategic about what you're doing. So it's a little bit of, you're at the mercy of the dice and the mercy of the card deck, but you have to be strategic about what you're doing and what you're holding on to. But I like the aspect too that you're controlling your own fate, so to speak. So you can level up your character very specifically if you want to, by utilizing those cards to do that and add to the XP in each space going on. So I liked that was that added. It's not just GM control over your character. You as a player are taking control over leveling up your own character too.
Totally.
As you go. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Love it.
Also, it opens up a mechanic that isn't in there now of like you could introduce additional cards like jokers.
Yeah.
Right. And what specialty thing happens when a joker pops up? And, is it a joker that the storyteller drew for setting difficulties that can do something crazy versus a player from when they were looting that could do something crazy? Like there's a lot of potential there for little things like that as well.
Love it. Great idea.
I think that might be in Songs and Sagas, but I'd have to go back and look.
I'd like to thank Jeremy for running, and thank all of you for being wonderful players to be with. This was a great time. I hope to, pop in some other time and maybe do another one-shot at some point if I can.
I feel like we need to give Ed a quick couple lines here on feedback.
Oh, okay.
I had a great time. I find myself wanting to play it again in a serial way to sort of explore some of the, gathering of better equipment or using the XP kind of mechanics. And it's lightweight and simple enough that I'd love to do it on like a weekly kind of cadence. Like I'm imagining that versus a lot of other RPGs. There's so much prep and crunch involved that like I can't do that every week. But like I could easily see that, this is my Thursday night, right? Is stumbling through the wasteland and picking up loot.
Right. And I like how you could technically keep the same story going, but you don't need, because character creation is so easy, you could not necessarily, if you didn't want to play Shorty next time, but you wanted to keep this story going, well, this other friend of the group that you make up could be that person. It's just so quick and easy to do it that you're not limited by that. Sorry, go ahead.
The thing that I would love to see added is, because this is already pretty like newbie friendly, right? It's not super crunchy. You can jump in really quick. I'd love to see like a supplement, which is just like literally an adventure going through like 3 or 4 rooms, right? Like show a skill check, show an example combat, show like some of the things that I had trouble with was like figuring out that getting a card through scavenging is the same thing as getting a card through succeeding in a trial roll.
Right.
Right. That wasn't
Same.
obvious, but like that would be, again, if you were just going to make a couple more pages on this with like a example adventure, right, that I could point my slightly, less experienced buddies at, like that would take it from an 8 to a 10.
Nice. Love
This
it.
is definitely a game that I'm going to add to my free play repertoire. So I run a free play night at my local FLGS, and I do different game systems all the time with that. And this is definitely one that I plan on introducing for that as well.
Nice. I think it's a great for stuff like that. Having run Adventures League, D&D Adventures League, and kind of the complicated nature of that because it's D&D, this is something that people can drop in and you can be like, hey, take this 1.5 minutes to make your character. You know what I mean? And it's so much simpler to do stuff like that with. I love it. I hope you have a blast. I want to thank all of you
Thanks for having us.
for being on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Also, Devin, you did a great job. You said this was your first stream, so
Yeah.
Absolutely.
would not have guessed that. Great job.
I mean, I don't know what there is to do really.
You did it.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's it in a nutshell. Everybody gets in their head about it. So.
I mean, I'm a little disappointed no one cosplayed as their character, but other than that, you were all fantastic.
Whatever, Jeremy.
I thought about putting on my Halloween costume, but Link is not really a good mix for this. So
I
Totally fair.
even have metal in my hair.
Nice.
Okay?
I love it.
yeah. All right. Thank you all. Have a great time.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do a quick round of outros.
Yep.
Also, if you have anything that's coming up that you want to talk about, absolutely do so. Let's start. Who went last? I don't remember. Ed, you're going to start us off.
That was a lifetime ago.
Right?
All right. My name is Ed. This afternoon I played Shorty the Hollower. Had a great time. I'm going to be back here next weekend doing Hunter, Bad Blood, with the lovely folks here, and I'm really looking forward to that. So I had a good time, and thank you, Jeremy, and thank you, everyone watching.
Thank you. Definitely appreciate it. Who would you like to hand it off to?
Miko.
Oh, hi, that's me. I am Miko, otherwise known as the OKSGM. I played everyone's lovable Dooner named Rook today. Had an exceptionally fun time playing with all of you. You can find me most of the time over on Folk and Myth, twitch.tv/Folk and Myth, or on my own channel, twitch.tv/the_KS_GM. Wow, dog. Thanks for that noise. And if you are at all interested in the things that I've got going on, you can just check out my website, theoksgm.com. I will also be back here Halloween night for Curseborn
Hooray!
on Wanderer's Haven. So that's going to be fun too.
Looking forward to that. Who would you like to send it over to?
Shannon.
Good segue, because I will also be back here on Halloween
I wasn't
night
gonna say it.
for... Yeah, I know you. I could feel you willing it, though, Jeremy. So I am Shannon. My Twitch and YouTube channels are Imagine If Media. We do 3 shows regularly right now. We have Creator Spotlight on Tuesdays, and that's for anyone who wants to come on and chat about what they do out as a creator in this world. Doesn't necessarily have to be TTRPGs. If you're a writer or an artist or whatever, we'd love to have you on there too, talking about that and promoting what you've got coming up and everything. And do Challenge Accepted, which is more of game design, supporting each other and kind of talking through all of that. And then we also have Goose Poop's Creator Coop, which is another game design, and that goes right through concept to completion on what gets a game going. Jordan is great. Want to talk about another light system to pick up and play with any age, all people. Good Soup is phenomenal. Highly recommend it.
Also another support or another creator that supports the streams and the people working with his
Yes.
games. Awesome.
Yeah, Jordan is great. So yes, you can come on there, and we have a Discord also that kind of supports that creator space as well that we're looking for. I am an artist, a writer, Reiki healer, and so I'm in general putting the channel out there to support those who create, play, and heal. So thank you for having me. I appreciate it. You know I
Always a
love it here.
pleasure. Always a pleasure. Last but not least, Devin, tell us about yourself.
I'm Devin. I played Henry, the crash-landed orbiter. Law school is eating my life, as it has been for the last 2.5 years. But I do the one web presence I can suggest is my web serial. CNTO weaponizes the future on the wonderful web forums. Sufficient velocity, thousands of other great stories there. If you want to check that out, feel free, leave me some comments. Other than that, I hope to do something with you guys again. It'd be great.
I hope to have you back. It'd be awesome.
Oh, thank you.
And hey, I'm Libby's dad. She is bored and wants to go outside now. So we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna raid over to Little Bones' channel, see what she's got going on over there. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. Make sure you follow all of the links that were posted in chat. If you're watching this live, all of the fantastic people on your screen, as well as you can select one or all of the places to follow me. And also head over to YouTube and give us a follow over there. We're trying to get to our 500 followers. And we will see you on tune in Wednesday for the Horde of the Dragon Queen at 1 p.m. Eastern. They're trying to bring back Tiamat. Apparently that's a thing that the kids are doing these days, just down on the corner trying to summon dragon goddesses. So yeah, we'll catch you next time. Thanks again. I need to find the right window here. Thanks again. See you, everybody.